or he's probably looking at this and thinking like, I should have a much better game this time, like in terms of how, how safe I should be, effectively, right? Like this Ricky Grimstroke was so good at just, you see they were like level 3 or level 4 and they were just running and just hitting the Deucer in the jungle. Like that's the amount of pressure they wanted to output, and Oracle Shaman just don't do the same thing at all. It's kind of a little bit more objective based with the DP and the Shaman, which I don't think Deucer minds too much. I'm really interested to see what both teams pick as their last pick here, though. I really hope they give Yang this Mars, and they pick, because they could play Venge 1 still as well. Remember Vici, right? Like it has potential, or DY could play it as the 5. So I don't know whether they
Phantom Lancer. I was thinking Beastmaster for LGD actually, but now they go Beastmaster on Vici, which probably puts Mars back in the 1, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, assuming it's Mars for Eurus again. I don't mind the Beastmaster, though. I think it's really good to, like, again, not only is it a hero that buffs up Deucer, but they also have this single target burst, which is really good against DP and Ember. Like, in the mid game, if you can get a good roar off onto either of those heroes, they aren't particularly tanky unless they get their spells off and things. But you know, the problem is this is a Beastmaster into an Oracle, so it's almost more of a utility Beastmaster rather than like a run around and gank you kind of Beastmaster. Oh my god!
There's the Arc Warden coming in for LGD, a hero that we've only seen a handful of times. I think maybe once or even twice. Yeah, once, and it won.
It was Emo, right? That played it before.
It's yeah, no. It was played by Royal Never Give Up. It was Monet, wasn't it?
Oh, was it against IG? I think.
Yeah, it was against IG.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because they picked it against the. Was it Morphling? I think.
It was against Lycan, Terrorblade, Disruptor, Earthshaker, and the Veno.
But again, like if you look at Vici's lineup, so much of it is physical damage again, right? So like this magnetic field's going to be really key as well. I think LGD have utilized this last pick really well both games. I worry that they might just get their towers run down a little bit. Like they don't have a great amount of team fight on LGD, and so I worry that like their tanky frontliner is the DP, and I think in the early stages of the game, I think Vici can punish that really hard because she's not tanky until she gets a few items online. And I do worry that, this Deucer is going to get pretty much free farm because of how the support duo is different this game. And Arc Warden, it can pressure and it can defend towers on the high ground, especially against this Deucer, but I don't know. I feel much better about Vici's draft this game than last time. I think they've adapted it nicely.
Definitely feels better overall. I think with the Beastmaster 2, it does give more opportunity for that egg to go off from the Phoenix, but we'll see. It's about how LGD now play this game, and are they going to try and keep the tempo up? Are they trying to play the tempo of the level 6 Ember with 6 Shadow Shaman taking towers with Exorcism and Serpent Wards while they leave the rest of the map open for the Arc Warden?
I think the thing for them is to play around the Exorcism well as well. I mean, who was it that played? I think it might be Yang that played offlane DP before, right? Because it was against the Deucer. Remember, and he made those really bad rotations, and it just hurt his game so much. Like this offlane Deucer didn't do anything at all. So I'm expecting better things from Old 11 here than we saw from Yang before. But if this offlane DP doesn't have a decent start to the game, I think it's going to really suffer because Ember and Arc Warden both need farm as well, right? So if they start to lose the map, the DP is going to be the core that suffers because of it, and she's going to fall behind really quickly. So LGD have to be playing for in front here and playing for the objectives, like you say, with the Shadow Shaman wards and with the Exorcism as well.
So it makes that that first Exorcism very important, and from what we've seen in past games with the Death Prophet, that first Exorcism comes out and all of a sudden we're playing 5v5 mid.
Except this time it's 5 versus 5 bot lane.
30 seconds.
Yeah, offlane Death Prophet. Something we've seen once or twice before. I know Faith Beyond played it.
Look at FY styling on the Shadow Shaman. Doing his little circles. They are just standing under a hawk, by the way, which is very funny. I don't think they even realise it's going to die now, and then they don't even have anybody there.
Yeah, I'll find. I'll find Death Prophet. Something we've seen once or twice before. I know Faith Beyond played it. Look at FY styling on the Shadow Shaman.
Something they are just standing under a hawk, by the way, which is very funny. I don't think they even realise it's going to die now, and then they don't even have anybody there.
So standard lanes, it looks like, for the side of Vici. Is this what you want if you're LGD? Just standard lanes like this?
I think both teams are going to be okay with how their lanes are set up. To be honest, like this top lane, they should both just farm. I worry for them when Beastmaster gets some levels online. Like the Chalice can just get run down. Has Chalice played Arc Warden before? Like recently? I feel like I haven't seen it.
I can check. We'll be up here with X-Nova.
God, look at this block by Yang.
A lot of Spark Wraiths coming in. Want to really mess up that jungle and mess up any potential to maybe look to do anything here for PYW.
Yeah, so Yang should just free farm up here in this top lane. They don't really do anything to him, really.
Look at the damage early on PYW.
Chalice should get a decent amount at least, I think, but Yang at the moment is absolutely dominating this lane. And it's the same mid matchup again. Interesting.
So, okay. Looking at his Arc Warden, he has played it once. Ever. And that was in 2016.
I was going to say, you have to remember that at the same time that he has only recently transitioned to carry. So he might have been playing it in pubs all this time, and we don't know.
Yeah. That's just his pro record, and of course, for the people who don't know, Chalice started his career as a one-position player. A lot of people like to say that he's not meant to be a safe laner, and that he doesn't make good plays as a safe laner, but he's obviously proven those statements wrong, on top of the fact he was a safe laner. He started his career on, I believe, Max Y as one, so for all those people who think that, they are wrong. He's only played 5 pub games as Arc Warden, and the last one was in 2019, February.
Oh my god. Chalice is balling.
So, Fortune's End once again. X-Nova does have Purifying Flames, so you look at just the damage on the PYW and you worry that maybe
there's a
Phoenix
courier
might
coming
be in a bad
here.
spot.
Oh yeah, they're going to move it. They're like, oh god, don't give PYW a chance.
Not while I'm around.
These side lanes going really badly though for LGD at the moment.
Yeah, Somnus doing well though mid, up against Ori. But like you said, yeah, these side lanes not exactly going swell for them, as the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th on the CS chart right now are all Vici members. Arc Warden sitting at 9-0, while Old 11 with 3 denies is still here with only 9 CS, and sitting level 2 behind this Mars by quite a bit.
I assume he's going to be going for Necro at first.
Ooh, Icarus dive coming through on the Chalice. Chalice getting chased. Gets the dome up. He'll survive.
Yeah, good luck getting flips off against a Beastmaster, by the way, who has Boar. He's not going to be easy to bully.
What's normally the build here for an Arc Warden?
Do you mean skills or item build?
Give me both for the viewers at home.
I mean, for skill build, I like that he put an early point in magnetic field. I think it's really important in this lane, just to keep him alive. And he might actually still be in trouble here.
He's gone up a little far. Icarus dive on top of Chalice. This should be first blood. Will be. Yank gets the kill onto the Arc Warden. That is not a spot you want to be in. But meanwhile, mid, Ori taking a lot of damage as he trades with Somnus, who eats the Mystic Snake, and he'll die.
That's a big one, boys. That's a really important kill in that mid lane, because the side lanes are going so well for them, right? But Ori's going to be really happy with that. But back to Arc Warden though. I mean, the skill build, you tend to go for like max Spark Wraith first, I'm pretty sure, because it helps you farm the most. But also, in terms of item build, you sometimes see people go Necro 1, which it seems Chalice is going for, and then like into the Maelstrom, I think is the most standard build. Gone are the day of BOTs. In a lot of games, at least.
Spark Wraith's down. PYW still just trying to harass out Chalice. Chalice going into the early Necro book to try and farm. We've seen this, you know, every so often on a couple of heroes, just to get that extra farming capabilities.
I'm just looking at Yang here, and he's like 700 off Necro 1, and I'm looking at Chalice, and I'm like, how is this guy gonna cope? And Chalice is getting run at again, by the way.
Yeah, meanwhile, bottom old 11 gets the kill on a DY. They'll focus on some boars. Yang doing a lot of damage on X Nova, though. They take away the boars. They've got the flux. They'll disarm the Beastmaster. Chalice without mana. He does have a mango to work with, which he will, in fact, eat as he goes into that second level of Spark Wraith, just about to hit that level 5. So, yeah, sitting, what, 600 gold behind this Beastmaster in terms of going for that early Necro?
Because the thing is, for Chalice, it's not about him, like, not getting farm and stuff, because he's also having to spend money on regen as well, because he's getting bullied out in the lane so hard. Like, he's feeling constantly pressured here, which, as a carry player, feels horrendous.
Bottom spear and the magic missile hitting on the FY, but nothing to follow that up. The only one really having an amazing lane so far is Somnus, although I will say Death Prophet starting to really catch up and yeah, makes his way onto the second spot in the CS chart.
PYW gets X Nova's Courier. Yeah, I think when this Necro 1 book comes out for Yang in 200 gold, this game's going to ramp up real quick for Vici. I wouldn't be surprised to see DY coming up to this top lane as well at that point, or see Yang go down to the bot lane potentially. Phoenix is going bot here. PYW. FY's in a bit of trouble.
They'll end up dead. Eurus gets the kill, but Eurus himself falls. They rotate over at PYW to get this kill onto Old 11, or at least try to. The Spirit Siphon, Magic Missile comes in, and eventually Old 11 will lose his life.
And here comes the Necro on top lane. Oh, he's getting chased mid down actually. Somnus gets him.
Whoa. Big kill there to get one back onto this Medusa. Ember now sitting a full level basically in front of this Dusa. This is a wild mid lane.
It is indeed. I mean, he has a lot of last hits on the Ember this time. So I think even though he made that mistake and died before, like, he still had a really good laning stage in general. This 8-minute rune is going to be really important for him though. If he can try and get, if he gets a haste or something, or he could just potentially die again. And he's using that Sleight of Fist really well on the Ember as well to try and dodge any potential snakes.
Searing Chains, but DY is here looking for the 8-minute rune. It is bottom, so PYW will just pick it up.
DY might be in trouble though. He's going to get run down.
So no bottle to fill.
Okay.
Somnus is going to go back to base and I guess maybe make an attempt to fight top as he threw that remnant there.
Yeah, I think Yang has to wait for +1s here before he goes on Chalice. Because otherwise what happens is that they just TP him more on LGD and then Yang just gives his life away for no reason, right? So he needs to link up with PYW ideally on this Phoenix. And I don't know what this exorcism's about in the bot lane, by the way. Old 11 seems to have used it very liberally. Unfortunately, it didn't really damage the tower at all. Only about 700 damage or so on it at the moment.
Definitely not the exorcism you expect to see with the first one. So that'll be on cooldown for quite some time. Meanwhile, Orc Warden, he's shifted towards mid. He's trying to get this Necro 1 out as fast as possible, but Beastmaster, he's already got the Necro 1 and another 1150 gold.
And here comes the push train up in the top lane. He doesn't even have the Necro book up for a few seconds, but they're still just running, going to mow down this tower here. And this is what I mean, like, Vici are going to start taking this map really quickly. And I think LGD are going to struggle with this a lot. If they just keep playing, linking up with their strong hero on the Beastmaster on the map at the moment, Vici don't really have a hero that LGD don't really have a hero that team fights at the moment to fight into it. Like, they need to kind of wait for this next exorcism, or at least try and pressure this bot tier 1 at the same time, because Yang isn't going to stop here in this top lane. He's going to take over this whole top half of the map.
As the Necro 2 flying out as well. So he is farming very well as we see him sitting top of the net worth.
Yeah. And I think
This
he's going
has
to try
gotten
and
great
link,
for him.
he's going to try and link up with mid lane here to try and push the tier 1 as well. DY is dewarding everything at the moment, by the way, as well. He's doing a really good job. Like, the whole top half of this map is now completely blind for LGD.
Old 11, he will get a tower bottom. And that's without Exorcism that he finishes off that tower. X-Nova getting really close to level 6. He'd love to have this coming into a potential fight. Have the false promise to get a save. He does pick up the Tome of Knowledge, so he definitely has it. Okay.
What does Ori have on the Deucer? Almost Yasha. Okay. Fair enough. He's doing alright.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Icarus dive. But there's the Hex.
my
Serpent
goodness.
Ward's committed onto Ori. Stonegaze comes in. FY looks pretty dead to rights here as the Supernova will pop. Stuns up the Shadow Shaman. Eurus gets the kill. They also take out the Courier. That was Serpent Ward's committed. Ori gets the Stonegaze out. Now they've got the swap. Somnus forced to Remnant away.
What's the-
Exorcism used. Old 11, he's sitting pretty low.
Why is that Exorcism?
But where's the false promise?
He's not level 6. Oh, he is level 6.
Yeah, he
I don't know.
told me he had it.
Structures are fortified.
Good question.
Dire's middle tower is under
That was so weird. I think he just possibly assumed that X-Nova was going to ult him there.
Dire's middle tower.
Yeah,
And
I would
the
certainly
big-
think so.
The big thing was that Ori got off Stonegaze in that fight just before.
There's the Fortune's End, but they just aren't taking the best of fights at the moment. It's a 2,000 net worth lead right now for Vici. And they look really good on this Radiant side so far.
Radiant are scanning.
Yeah, looking strong. He has Necro 3 up on the Beastmaster. Where did that come from?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, he has skipped boots and anything
Even
else.
so. 12 minutes.
She made eyelashes.
Guys.
Here. Eyelashes.
And considering how much fighting he's been doing, like, and how much roaming around to try and, you know, make things happen.
Like, first she was, like, making
Not sure how
videos
you
for
play the dead
Dota,
Yang strat if
and she
Yang's
said
not gonna
she
die.
flashes and she showed
That's
the
true,
Dire.
actually. They're going to go on the Oracle here as well.
Ooh, Primal Roar. Oracle does have the false promise for himself if he can survive. No, he won't, but Yang now in trouble, or, well, maybe he's not. A lot of damage done there on a Chalice for a second that I thought he may not chase this. However, he
Chalice
focused
is
his
just
attention
dead,
on the
though.
DY, and whoa! Spear from left field. Meanwhile, Ori goes
smoke!
down. They get PYW. This is a fight happening bottom, and the smoke used by DY and Yang, they'll survive. 2 for 2. That ends up being a bit of a decent trade for LGD as they killed the Medusa.
Yeah, I have no idea what the cameraman caught, by the way, but that is such a... That's like your worst moment as an observer ever, when you're like, oh my god, there's 2 really important fights going on at the same time.
Radiant structures are fortified.
What do I do?
It's where I wish I had that split screen capabilities on my own
Yeah.
end.
I actually think that Deucer kill is the biggest, you know, thing they could have got though on LGD, so I think it definitely favours them overall. You know, Chalice is really struggling, but they kill the Deucer. You know, that's still a big thing for them. They didn't even commit Exorcism either on old 11, so still doing okay.
No, she didn't.
What does he have coming out in the
Bottom
courier?
tower is under attack.
Oh, he's getting
And the
a
last
medallion.
video
Okay.
is it-
I don't mind that too much. I don't know why he's bringing the medallion out just before he's finished the Blightstone, though.
We'll see, maybe he intends to TP back.
Possibly. I don't know. I think he's just... Yeah, look. He buys the Blightstone. Just as the courier comes. Oh, no. I like this medallion build, though, on DP. I think especially as a side laner. It's really strong. Like, the early stages mask build-up really helps you in the laning stage as well. And then, obviously, you can use it offensively with the ult. You can use it defensively as well. Like, you're playing against Beastmaster, Deuce Avenge, right? So this extra armor that comes through defensively is still pretty good.
A tool to teach.
Bottom.
DY.
DUI. There's the Searing Chains coming through onto the bench. They've dropped down the Serpent Wards. The Arena is out as well as the Exorcism. X-Nova is near, so he does have the False Promise, but he puts it on a Somnus. So Old 11 running with the Exorcism. They'll get the Kona F-Y. They look over at this Death Prophet. Searing Chains locks up Yang. Remnant forward in the False Promise still. Yang one shot from dead. Surviving though. Now the Remnant back over. Searing Chains once again, but it's just not enough. Finally, Purifying Flames comes in from X-Nova to get the kill on Yang, but they've got themselves the stun with the spear on a Somnus. They aren't really following this up much just yet.
He's so
and this
tanky,
is really just... They are winning this fight in a bit here, a bit of ways here for LGD, because on top of that, it is some time for Chalice to farm, where he was sitting still in the 3Ks just a couple moments ago.
This Vanguard Ember build is actually so good, because I completely forgot, like, they don't have good ways of taking off the Flame Guard, right? Because he has the level 10 Talon on Somnus with the Flame Guard absorption. They can't really take Flame Guard off him, but they also can't really kill him because he has a Vanguard to, like, protect him against all this physical damage.
Magic Missile, damage on Old 11. He's got nobody to really help him out. However, the Yules to avoid the spear. Finally, the heroes come over. Old 11, he's staying alive with the Spirit Siphon. DY ends up dead. Old 11 getting chased by 3 heroes, and it's taking everything to try and kill him, and they still cannot succeed.
How does he live there? What a sick ability, OS Frog, please. Please nerf Spirit Siphon.
And they're still going. They're looking for X-Nova. He doesn't have any mana left to do anything, but they finally get the Arena. They finally take out Old 11. They focus their attention on the Chalice. They can't get the kill there. FY also dead. So 3 go down on LGD after the chase is quite extensive. And, oh, Primal Roar? Somnus?
He's losing mana because of the Necrobook here on Somnus.
Now needing to
he doesn't quite
really
have mana
run.
For the Remnant jump.
Gets hit with the Magic Missile, stops his TP, still running. Icarus dive over, Sleight of Fist still just trying to survive here. He's got 6 charges on the 1, now 7, but, well, he's not got the mana to jump out of there, and even so, the Remnant was just right here.
Yeah, it takes so long to bring him down though still. Like, there's 4 heroes just constantly clicking him there, right? And he still survives for so long. Essence Ring, it's a pretty good Ember item. Could keep it on DP as well. Oh, clumsy net for the Beastmaster.
It's a good one to have.
He actually ends up... Okay, gives it to PYW. I'm surprised he didn't keep it for himself, to be honest.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
And he passes the... Okay. This is some net passing around here. DY gets another D-Ward. And it's getting to that point in the game again where Deuce is going to be really hard to deal with. Like, if she's going for this Butterfly second item, her damage output's going to be really high, and she's got the Quarterstaff coming out, so... Going to be about 4.5k away here. But they've got to be looking towards that first Roche already, I think, Vici, with the lineup that they have. You know, Beastmaster, Venge, Dusa.
Blink, Eurus, and Chalice. He's got the Tempest double, but there's the Icarus dive. Chalice won't survive. And they are just dominating Chalice on this arc ward. And they'll also get the Tempest double. Everybody coming around for Vici. He really doesn't have much on this hero.
Yeah, but considering the start of the game he had, he's actually recovered pretty well. But he's still just really far behind. Like, going for this second item MKB, we don't normally see this, right? You go for the Maelstrom or something, but I think he realizes that this Deuce is so farmed, right? And she's going to get a Butterfly soon. So I have to go for this MKB, otherwise we're never killing her.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
They do take the bottom tier 2 though. Serpent Ward's committed to that. No Exorcism committed, so they can just push these towers if given the opportunity, just as they did in that situation. Old 11 next going into the BKB. Somnus, Mjolnir. He's got Vanguard Mjolnir again.
I think that's okay.
Second life here for the Dusa.
Ooh,
Spear again on Somnus. They have the Primal Roar to go with this, so the lockdown is just way too overwhelming. Spear, Primal Roar, Magic Missile. I don't really know what you do in that situation.
Yeah, and this is a problem I had with the DP side lane, right? Like, when Vici take them out, somebody has to suffer on LGD, and At the moment, Old 11's the one that is doing okay, right? Oh, what a good swap there by DY.
Oracle on the run, but yeah, Max Nova just quickly dead.
Yeah, and because like Old 11 can't really sacrifice his game at all, it means Chalice is the one that's like suffering, or like maybe on this Ember Spirit, it's like trying to like run around and make things happen, but it also means like he's not farming, right? Because there isn't the space.
Radiant's top tower is
Yeah, like
under
it's great
attack.
that this DP side lane's doing well, but again, you really have to be trying to play in front, and unfortunately, it was never going to happen this game with how the laning stage panned out. I think he's got pipe on Beastmaster here as well.
Sight, Searing Chains onto the Phoenix. Old 11 coming over, they've got the medallion, but there's the spear once again. Exorcism committed if they can get anything from this. There's the arena coming through. Swap. So Somnus is isolated. They want to go after this supernova. They're going to need the right clicks, and I think they do get the kill onto the egg. Magic Missile just a little bit too late. They'll take the 3-time spree away, also take out DY, and this is a bit of bad positioning and bad play from Vici. However, they can still recover. They've got Ori ready to go. Fortune's End comes through. He's now out of mana. A lot of damage being taken with the Exorcism rolling. Spear misses. Now the Hex as well as the Serpent Wards. They've got themselves the Shackle from quite the range. FY gives it up as the Stone Gaze comes through, but they get the kill on a Eurus. They'll take on the Mars, and they look
chains
for
up in
more. Somnus. Sight and Searing Chains now up. Sight and Searing Chains on a both, but the rest of your team isn't here, so you'll be forced to back, but you'll grab the tier 2 tower. A great fight there from LGD.
A little bit of not ideal spell usage from Vici, unfortunately. Like arena, and then they swap the DP out of the arena just as the egg goes down in the same position. So then the DP can just hit the egg and kill it off. So it was pretty sad. You know, PYW's just hit level 12, but unfortunately that was the level 1 egg that he used in that fight a second ago. Which feels really bad as a Phoenix when you're about to hit level 12 and you feel forced to use egg for a team fight. It sucks so much.
So there's the MKB for Chalice, who is slowly working his way back up the net worth ladder.
This Deucer though is still the big problem. The problem Vici are gonna have is that they can't really go high ground well when Arc Warden's alive, right? It doesn't matter how farmless Deucer is, if she can't hit the buildings, it doesn't matter what items you have. So LGD, they can keep themselves in the game for a long time.
So they do it to
Dire
me and,
are
like,
scanning.
look natural. I liked it.
It's only a 2,000 net worth lead. This has been a good job from LG to really pull it back. And like you said, it could be very hard to go onto the high ground when Arc Warden is alive.
Like example, like this eyelash.
There's an arcane rune here on Somnus as well, on this Ember Spirit, so when the next fight breaks out, it could be very useful.
In Russian, I don't know.
I really like Chalice's item build, by the way.
Radiant's
He
bottom
understands that
tower
it's his
is
job
under
to
attack.
do damage this game, especially to the Deucer, right? So he goes Necrobook to help him farm, MKB because she's going Butterfly, and now going back for the Dragon Lance to help him keep reach as well. He's not going to go for like this Hex, this Shadow Blade stuff. It's his job to do damage. So he has to be building these right-click items.
If they're starting to feel in a position where they might get their high ground pushed, and he is 5 levels away from this
Radiant are
possibility, but you know, you get the level 20. Are you taking the Spark Wraith cooldown or the attack range?
I like Walker.
Probably the attack range this game, especially if you're going for the Dragon Lance as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd be very surprised if he went for the Spark Wraith. I think 100 attack range, even though it's not a huge amount, it's still pretty nice. And they caught Eurus bot lane.
Mars, Serpent Wards with the Shackle, and Eurus. An easy kill there for the side of LGD. They do commit Exorcism, though. I say it's
Aegis
easy. They
is-
committed Exorcism and Serpent Wards.
Aegis is down,
However, they
though.
could find mine. They could find more, excuse me, not mine. They're going to go forward. Icarus Dive as well as the Supernova. A lot of, look at that damage! On 11, pops
Oh,
the
they got the swap
BKB.
onto Maybe.
He's just dead. Somnus avoids the Supernova
No mana.
going into the Remnant away, but now he's in trouble. Sleight of Fist comes through once again. Ori on the back of this entire engagement. The False Promise will keep the Ember alive. Sunray,
Oh, Chalice.
top of Yang, burning Somnus, Chalice on the run. This is so far so good for Vici. Somnus will survive. and they've got the soul from the Necro Creeps onto this Arc Warden as well as the swap. They'll get the kill. Chalice gone, Shackle's there on a DY, but there's nothing more to follow that up
Save
with.
your buddy,
So they've got
Syndrome.
the Magic Missile. They'll get the kill on an FY. 3 heroes gone on LGD for Eurus over bottom. And that goes really well for Vici, but Jesus, Death Prophet just getting destroyed so fast in that fight.
Great heads-up play by LGD though. There, like they get the kill on Eurus bot, but they know that the Aegis just run out, so they instantly just move over to mid lane to try and fight more. Yeah, DP dies, but like she's used Exorcism already, so like it's whatever, right? Like as long as the Deuce is alive, as long as the Beastmaster's alive, they still have massive damage output, especially with Ori having that butterfly now. Yeah, Yang's still playing super well this game. Up on the Beastmaster, feels like he's always in the right place at the right time. I haven't really seen too much from Eurus this game though. We've had some nice spears, but I think this BKB is going to be, too important for him.
They do find Ori. They've got 3 here on the
Chalice.
Supernova. Chalice trying to man fight this, and the Sunray comes in. They'll get the Tempest double, but the damage onto Ori is very overwhelming. They've got the swap as well as the Remnant back and forth. They get the kill onto Chalice. They'll take out DY. Now they're focusing on Ori, but he doesn't have the damage. Ori gets the kill on a Sovereign. They'll take out X-Nova.
And they get
That's
the
going
roar.
to be 4 Primal Roar onto this Shadow Shaman, make it a 5th, a full team wipe for the side of Vici. LGD had the game in their, not in their hands, but the game back to even, and all of a sudden Vici, they saw the door close and they break it wide open with those 2 fights.
I mean, it's the Deuce of Butterfly timing though, right? Like their damage output on Vici just increases, like so much. And this I think Venge has a Vlad's as well, right? Yeah, so like Deuce is life stealing. Venge died in that fight, but it doesn't even really feel like she died because she has the illusion anyway.
Top tower is under attack. Radiant's top
We said the high ground would be difficult if Arc Warden was alive, but he is not. So it is easy.
I like how I talked about Eurus just before that fight, and then as I say it, he like instantly dives into the backline, gets the Oracle and the Arc Warden in an arena, and spears the Arc Warden to the side just to kill him off instantly. Redemption arc for Eurus.
scanning.
Telescope for Venge, nice. Some good stuff for Vici at the moment in terms of neutralize.
Arc
I'm
Warden
really surprised.
was coming back. Arc Warden was coming back. Now, not so much. Medusa's really pulled away. They almost killed Ori there. Had they killed Ori in that fight, it would have felt not as bad, even though they got team wiped. But Ori survives with a minuscule map.
Oh, wow.
That swap with a spear is beautiful.
That was cute.
Ooh. Now they'll go
Eurus is
for
going
more.
for more here.
And they've got themselves the arena once again. Chalice locked up. Spear comes in. And, Arc Warden surviving for now, but not for much longer.
Yeah, X-Nova doesn't even bother using his ult on him there, because there's no point. It's just going to delay the inevitable. And Vici just going to head up to the top lane now, try and take another set of racks. And they say, guys, we can play this strat. Like, it does work.
Dire's top barracks are under attack.
Get the tier 3, they'll work on the racks. They're still trying to up that Mars win rate.
Dire's top barracks has fallen. Dire's top barracks has fallen.
I will say, Somnus on this Ember has played really well, despite the fact that his team is, been behind in this game. And I know he's 3-4-8, but he's kept his team back, in it at times. Only
It's
so
just a
much you
really
can
tough
do.
game for them now, though, right? Like, I don't know how they're supposed to kill the Deucer anymore. Like, they need to have everything to be able to kill her off. Like, they need to be dropping wards. Arc Warden needs to be punching away with him and his clone as well. They accidentally double smoke on LGD. Sums up, how this game's gone for them, really.
We're gonna go towards Roche. Ori's
Yes,
in there,
by the way.
and now they jump. BKB with the arena, they focus the Oracle, they get the Oracle killed. He'll probably be forced to buy back and come into the fight immediately, but FY And
God,
they
Chalice.
just look at where the Supernova is. X-Nova's gone. Chalice is dead as well. And they'll just call GG. This game is way over Vici. A clean one, a quick one, and a one where they look really, really good.
Yeah, they looked really strong this game, and I do think a lot of it came up down to like how that top lane went right. Like Chalice had to leave the lane so early on, and Beastmaster just pushed the tower, and Vici never lost control of the whole top side of the map, like all game. Like LGD had to try and play this bot side, but I mean, they couldn't ever really pressure the Deucer. And did you see what I mean about the difference in the support duo between both games, right?
Yeah.
Like last game we had the Scrimshot Ricky, and Ori felt so scared to play on the map and like to farm safely everywhere. Like their wards were so defensive on Vici last game to try and protect this this Medusa. But with the Shadow Shaman Oracle, they can't make those plays. And so Ori just free farms like the whole game pretty much, right? And again, it's more about like the pick-off game for LGD. So like they were getting the Mars a couple of times, that was really nice. But again, they just have 3 cores that need farm. And it feels like in both games, the team that has the higher tempo draft has won pretty, you know, not convincingly necessarily, but you can tell who's trying to make the plays on the map, right? In both games.
Yeah, for sure. It's just for Vici, that was the game that, you know, that they want. They won that in under 30 minutes, I believe. Just kind of destroy, just under 30 minutes, 29 minutes 50 seconds. They know that we're gonna get 4 games now, which is fantastic. I'm a big fan of that. But overall, they just look so amazing. Like that was a very clean game from them in that one, where they just overwhelm LGD. And they make the Medusa work. Yang plays fantastic to really start that off in that top lane. Is Yang with that Beastmaster, and it just kind of all clicks together from there. So we're even in, you know, at 1, and we'll be back with game 3 in just a moment. It's Vici against LGD in this best of 5. I'm your caster Bcop, joined here by Mofara at Bcop92 on Twitter, at Mofara Dota on Twitter. Break this down a little bit more when we come back, but we'll be into game 3, so stay right there. We'll be right back.
Jack, your skin is suffering now. You have to like use cleansing form.
I'm using cleansing.
Like, look at you. It's all like oily.
Well, I put like lotion and skin and cream and aloe vera.
Are you okay? Are you insane, Jack? Your skin type is oily, and if you put like in summer cream, like you
tower is under attack.
So you mean you will go out? Like even if we get there and then start like while boss
Is under attack. Dire's turret has been killed. Dire's top tower.
they will finish well the second time.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Your place is here.
Radiant's Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Shaved in searing heat.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Face your ancestors in the afterlife.
All right, and welcome back here to more OGA Dota Pit action. It has been a fun one through 2 games. We got ourselves a 1-1, which is what I wanted. It's what Mo wanted. Sorry, wait. It's what Mo wanted. It's to my left. Always forget.
Thank you very much.
And, you know, we got it. We got ourselves the 1-1. We got ourselves in a good situation. And I'm very, 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 very happy because this is a series that I want to see 5 games in. I know you guys at home want to see 5 games in for sure. So I'm ready to go into game 3. We're still in the lobby. We're waiting for one more player. Actually,
Yang.
Yeah, Yang. We didn't say that. So it's just we'll be waiting on that draft in just a moment. But before we get into that draft, we got some time because we're kind of waiting in the lobby. What are your thoughts on that on that second game? Like, what broke down for LGD, and what do they need to fix to come into the third game?
I think most importantly for me, I think this Beastmaster is going to be like really. It's going to go up in priority in this series now. It kind of, and it's going to be interesting for me to see how LGD, whether they they decide to pickle ban the Beastmaster, whether they feel like they can't deal with the Deucer strat, whether they try and adapt their support Jury to play against it as a possibility. Like, there's so many different things they can do here, and this is something we talked about at the start of the series. Was how is this like almost like a mini meta in a best of 5, right? Going to adapt as the games go on. And I think this Beastmaster, for the rest of the draft, will take higher priority than before. I don't know whether it's going to be banned or picked, but it felt like it was such a strong hero here. Because, Old 11 does play this hero as well, right? The Beastmaster. So both teams have the potential to play it still. And I also think the vision control is something that's, these top teams really utilize from that hero the most. So yeah, I'd be very surprised, especially if LGD led it through again. Because I think Yang looked really comfortable on that hero. And I also think just the Necrobook and like the pressure you can put on the map with it is pretty crazy. You know, we've talked about the teams that can play the tempo game always look the best out of these two games so far. And even when they played against each other in the upper bracket before, it felt like Vici had the tempo both games, and they were the ones that were dictating things. I didn't like this DP Shadow Shaman offlane duo. It's okay. It's not awful, but you need to be able to play fights around your spells, right? And Yang and the rest of Vici didn't really give them the chance because they just played on the opposite side of the map the whole time. I thought there was some really interesting exorcism uses from Old 11. Like, there was sometimes where he just used them and he just died straight away. But this is why the Beastmaster pick was so good as well, because we talked about how this DP needs quite a few items to be able to come online and actually survive. Because that hero is not innately tanky. Like, Spirit Siphon makes it a little bit more, but you still need armor, you need raw HP, like you want the Yules for the mana regen as well. So I think they struggled a little bit on LGD to take team fights because they didn't really have a huge amount of lockdown, like CC, like the example on Eurus as well from Vici. So, like, it's fine if you have this DP and stuff, but you still need to be able to play around it as a team. They didn't really have a team that could do that massively well. But again, interesting going into Game 3. We'll see how the teams adapt. We should see.
And we'll see what they can pull out of this one. Sorry, you dropped for a second.
What?
Didn't hear the end of whatever you had said, but obviously, luckily,
it probably
to the fans, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I won't worry.
Well, it doesn't matter to the fans because production has it. I don't need to hear you. I knew you were still going through. I got worried for a second. I looked over. I'm like, all right, I don't have to. I'm not the one dealing with production. It's okay. But getting back to it, you know, this is two games where LGD looked really good in game 1, Vici looked really good in game 2. So now we're in a situation where both teams have looked kind of their best, I would say, almost in this tournament. Now we're going to see games 3, 4, and 5, and this is, in my opinion, where best of 5 start to get interesting. We talked about how the meta changes in a best of 5 very quickly, and this is where maybe we start to see that, where the bans get a little bit more, particular, and we see things start to get through. Like, oh, we've played this Medusa twice. One game it worked, one game it didn't. We're going to ban the Medusa. So now we're going to see Orion, different hero, and things are going to change. We don't really like the Ember here for Somnus for the 3rd game in a row. Like, bans are going to start to change, and I think we're going to start to see different things that can come through for both sides, and maybe we don't see Chalice on that Arc Warden again. So,
yeah, possibly, potentially. I think he didn't look massively comfortable on it. I don't think he played it badly, but it was more of a draft problem and like a play problem rather than a Chalice problem.
So, while we've got some time waiting in before the draft starts, I see that Robert of Arizona wants you to hang up the robe behind you again. He wants the robe actually sitting behind you, and then they tell me my bed's messy, which it's not really that messy. A couple wrinkles, never going to kill somebody. Guys,
I might hang it up. I'll try and hang it up during the game so that you can. I'll see if you recognise it after the game for ambience, like you say. It's fine. Yeah, I think coming into this series, though, we were saying Vici were probably the favourites, right? Like, I feel like when both teams are as good as they can be at the moment, I feel like Vici are probably slightly better. Not by much, but ever so slightly. And I think LGD, do they want to play against this Deucer potentially again? Are they going to, possibly ban this Venge out? Or even like ban out the Deucer or the Venge in the second phase? Because both these games that they've just played Vici, they've picked the Deucer, the Venge, then the Deucer in the second phase, both times, right? So do they want to play against it again? But also, like, you have to be constantly worried about it in the back of your mind now, right? Like, they have this potential to do this. So, like, do you just want to take it out? Do you feel like you can play against it? Because I feel like LGD, for me, they look so good at the moment when FY is playing this hero that can rotate him around the map and make plays. Like the Shaker, we've seen him on. The Tusk, we've seen him on. I think something like Clockwork would be quite nice as well. And like he can actually like rotate and like make these aggressive plays, like walk through the jungle and things, and try and move from lane to lane. Shadow Shaman isn't really that kind of hero, I think they felt pressured last game to pick the Sham because they were lacking lockdown, which is, fair enough. I don't mind that too much. But it just means they can't, it feels like FY dictates so much of what they can do on the map. Like the Ricky in game 1, he was everywhere early on, right? Like he was getting involved, like he was making the plays on the map, going into the jungle.
So, going to this draft, take a look. I'm excited to see where this draft ends up taking us. Again, game 3 of a best of 5 is where things start to open up, and I just want to see what they go for. Are we going to see the same picks, the same bands, and everything? So, will we see? Will we see another Medusa?
There you go. LGD take out the Venge straight away. They don't want to play against it. It's this Venge Dusa was too much for them, and I think this Beastmaster has to be. We talked about how it's going to go up in priority. I think both teams are going to be looking at that. And again, Vici, they banned the Nature's Prophet. Like game 1, they're like, okay, well we let them have it. Game 2 and 3, they're like, it did too much. We're just going to take it out. So like you can do all the prep in the world you want, but this is what's so good about the best of 5, that it will change as time goes on. Like especially with the bans in the first phase. So
yeah,
I think both teams are reacting really well. Yeah, we'll see how it ends up, because there's some supports I feel like are possibly going to be let through here that we didn't get to see before. So things like the Shaker and the Tusk I'm looking at the most here. Shaker, Tusk and Beastmaster are the 3 for me. Obviously as well as the Oracle Grimstroke, which have already been seen. Because things like the Pango as well, if they don't get banned, I think a potential for LGD as well. Yeah, I think Shaker, Tusk are big heroes here for both teams.
Ooh. So there goes the Earthshaker. If there's no Venge, is there a Medusa?
Probably not.
Okay.
I think the Venge Dusa combo is just so good together, right? Because you get the attack range on the Dusa, you get the primary attribute. It just feels really good. Like you can still pick Dusa, it's not an awful hero, but I don't think you can do it before last pick unless it's a really good game for it, or unless you're like super confident on the hero. It just enables that hero a lot. And they ban out the Mars this time, so we get to see something different from Vici. Eurus is going to be able to play a different hero. Lucky for him.
Oh, and there's that Tusk. I think that's been a first phase ban in both games so far. They don't want to give it up to FY. They would like to have it, so not a bad thing to pick it up. I've really liked Tusk recently. It's been very, very good, I think, at moving around the map, something that FY, one of those heroes that FY really excels with for those reasons.
Yeah, and the question now is, do LGD want to pick this Ember up again? They first phased it in both games so far, I think. And it's still okay. I still don't mind Grimstroke here for Vici, but then you have to worry about the Oracle on the other team as well. So, it loses a little bit of value there, because Oracle Tusk is still a decent opening for Vici. Alright, I don't mind this too much. Oh, they go back.
And they go to the Tiny. Wow. So Lich Tiny, which has been the combination we've seen a couple times recently from LGD. They've just been getting into picking up this Tiny in this tournament recently, and it's kind of worked out. That one game they played it where Chalice had ping problems, I'm not sure I can really count. So minus that, it's been played 3 other times. It's actually been played by LGD every single time this tournament, 4 times overall. It's 2-2, but one of those losses, like I said, a bit tough to handle, because it was when Chalice was out of, his ping was pretty out of control.
So this opening, I think LGD were in a really tough position, right? Because they probably would have quite liked to take Grimstroke themselves, but then, like we talked about, Vici could just take Oracle as well, which makes Grimstroke a lot harder because of the Purge on the Inkswell and stuff. So they take the Lich for themselves, which I think is fine. Like, this test is going to be wanting to do decent physical damage to you, especially, so the Frost Shield goes up in value. Especially, this heroes that pair up with Tusk tend to be the heroes that do physical damage, right? And then they pick the Tiny as well, which is something they're confident with. But now this allows Vici to take the Grimstroke themselves, and I actually think this Tusk Grimstroke opening It's something we saw CDEC do a lot as well at the start of the tournament. I really like this opening. I think it's really strong. And I think it does well against both the LGD heroes at the moment as well. The only reason I thought the LGD might take the Grimstroke anyway is just because when the Tusk can't snowball when he's soulbinded, right? So I thought that went up in a little bit of value there, but I mean the Lich is still okay. I don't mind it too much, and I'm really surprised this Beastmaster has been untouched so far. LGD, when they play this tiny hero, they tend to pick an offlane that doesn't need too much help in the laning stage. So we've seen Enigma from them recently. We've seen Beastmaster as well. I think is another one that works well with the in that kind of sense. So I think we're likely to see one of those here in the second stage of the draft. Especially this Enigma, it feels like their go-to hero, right? At the moment.
I wonder if they do go to this Enigma. We've seen it every now and then. It hasn't been banned just yet. Old Eleven's played it pretty well. I'd love to see him go to a Timbersaw instead, but that's just me. I want to see the first Timbersaw pick. But is the Enigma would you want it this early in the draft? With just the supports picked up?
I don't think it's awful. It's not great at the moment, because like you say, you don't see any of the cores, but they could just go for the Ember again. I think as well as another potential.
Ooh. Gyro.
All right, I don't mind this. I mean, Gyro Lich is a really strong lane as well. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And if the Tiny ever rotates in, it's pretty much a kill every single time.
Gyro has been played in 6 games, has only won 1 of them. And that victory was LGD up against Team Aster. They went Grimstroke, Sniper. I believe that was a position 4 Sniper with Pango and Kunkka.
So now I'm looking at this as LGD, as Vici, right? And I'm like, okay, so we have Tusk Grimstroke, so we have potential to do a really aggro tri-lane if we want to as well. We're going into Lich Tiny Gyrocopter, which isn't amazing, but in the early levels it's still okay, because tag team's always the winner. So I think they have to pick something. Okay, they go to Pango. I don't mind this. I think that's okay. I was going to say they need to pick if they want to do this aggressive lineup, they need to pick some strong carry in the laning stage, right? And it needs to be some melee hero as well. I was going to say to use Inkswell would be nice, but they go for the Pango instead. This is another hero I mentioned in the first phase of bans that I'd be really surprised if we didn't see it picked up at some point in this series, because I think this Pango hero is in a really good position at the moment. We know it's going to be a position 3 now, because we already see the Tusk and the Grimstroke. I mean, Yang has played Tusk once this tournament, but I don't really see it happening. And now, you're playing against this Lich Gyro, and you always have this ability to be able to swashbuckle and escape, right? So even if the lane's going to be difficult for you, you can kind of manipulate the creep waves. You can be really mobile in the laning stage, so it's difficult to pick you off. So I don't mind this too much. And Pango's also a hero that does okay in 1v1s if needed to, if they want to go for this aggro tri-lane. So I think Vici's this pick's pretty good for me. I like this a lot. And now LGD have to be thinking do we want to pick a hero that stops Pango from having a free game in terms of using Rolling Thunder, right?
Yeah.
So I think something like the Beastmaster for them is still there, potentially. But they are running out of reserve time here.
Yeah, they're using a lot of reserve time. They've got the Gyrocopter Tiny Lich so far. Could they go back to the Ember for Somnus? He's played it 2 games, and I know they lost the last game, but he's played it pretty well in both games. It's been his bread and butter so far.
I think you go back for your offlaner here, though, to flex the Gyro
between. Yeah, there's that Enigma.
Yeah. But again, it's another hero that stops the Pango just freely using Rolling Thunder, for the whole duration, right? But that's not the main reason. Yeah, they go back for the Enigma.
They really like this Enigma.
I think this is fine. And the question is now, what do Vici want to pick that they feel would be really strong? Because we've seen the different builds from Old 11 where if they don't pick anything that can cancel Black Hole through BKB, he'll just go Blink BKB, after Necro 1, right? Because he plays around that Black Hole really well. If not, you can go for more of this item, aura items. We've seen how we've done before in the past, Greaves, Pipe, Crimson, whatever. But he does like to go for a relatively early blink on Old 11.
Yeah, and
it doesn't matter whether it's
Necro 1.
Yeah, it doesn't matter whether it's a good Black Hole game or not. He tends to go blink anyway still. But Vici, they should have expected LGD that they have this in their locker, right? Like we knew. There's no way
Yeah.
Vici don't know. They play against each other so much. They probably scrim against each other a lot as well. So they know that LGD like this Enigma. And I'm surprised they don't. That they might even be thinking about their pick after this one, right? Potentially, because they want to use all their reserve time to pick, then ban, then pick again straight away. Because LGD don't have a lot of reserve time themselves.
Yeah, they only have 8 seconds remaining, and now they'll go into this pick. They'll take the Morphling, which is usually a Eurus hero, but I guess we'll have to see. I would assume it is the one position.
You're playing against Gyrocopter as well, though, right? Like the Morphling just goes up in value. I think this is pretty good. So they just need some hero now that can play the tempo game early. I think something like Kunkka might be pretty good for Vici last pick. If it doesn't get banned out. Yeah, there you go. What else? Like Void Spirit's still in the pool. I don't know how much I like it, but it's okay.
It's definitely mobile and gives you a little bit of a lockdown, some control. I think it's aggressive early where, both these teams can certainly take advantage of that early aggression, and now they go to the Ember here for Vici.
Okay. I think that's okay. Pretty good. Their draft looks relatively solid overall. I really hope Yang gets to play Tusk as well. I want to see it. I think it's 100% of the time, or like 99% of the time, it's going to be him on Pangolier, but we'll see.
No. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Because
Yeah,
go for
carry
it.
on.
No, go for it.
I was just going to say, they have the flex value between Morphling and Ember now about who plays 1 and 2. So depending on what LGD pick here as their mid laner, they can pick and choose on Vici.
Ooh. Okay. And I don't dislike this Storm. Where Searing Chains, Snowball, Walrus Punch. Not terribly amazing to hold this Storm still.
This Storm Spirit Ember matchup is going to be really cool though. Because you can dodge Remnant with Sleight of Fist as well. So it'll be interesting to see how this mid matchup goes for both these two. So they're going to be laning Eurus on the Morphling, probably up against Enigma, potentially. They might even do this aggro try, though, that we talked about before, with the Tusk Grimstroke Morphling, and then put the Pangolier in a 1v1 against the Enigma. But I don't know if you want to give Old 11 that kind of good 1v1 lane start, because he should dominate that lane, and we've seen him do it against other people in this raw 1v1. You're getting the constant denies coming through, you just get the level advantage, and you can secure CS easily because you have the 3 Eidolons and the hero. We've seen him get... Was it against Keen, I think, in the group stage? He got so many denies at the start of a game once.
I think he started with 23 or something like that. It was a lot. It was definitely up there real quick.
But it wasn't even just from denies and creeps. He was just securing so many just from using them well in the laning stage, the Eidolons.
Yeah.
But you can kind of see how both teams can win this game, right? Because it is a good Enigma game, right? There's nothing that stops BKB Black Hole at the moment. Unless they can save people with the snowball at the moment as well, which is nice. You can snowball through the black hole, which makes absolutely no logical sense. But yeah,
snowball works through time and space, man.
Easy peasy. I hate that Morphling set, by the way. I'm gonna put it out there. It's horrible stuff.
He looks like the snow that kind of builds up on the streets.
Yeah.
That's what he looks like. The dirty mound of snow where you're like, when are they going to really get rid of this? It's June. A lot of pings coming out. And it's a smoke from LGD this time. Something that we've been seeing from both teams here and there is that smoke to try and get those wards down.
Yeah, I do like that. I talked about these position 4 heroes that FY plays well, though, right? Where he can roam around the map and make things happen. I forgot to give Tiny as an example. So we talked about the Shaker and the Tusk, but Tiny is his like we talked about. It's his go-to at the moment, right? And there might be a little bit of a clash here. Both teams' smoke's going to pop at the same time, but yeah, they scout each other out.
Punching for you.
I'm really interested to see. Sorry, say that again.
I said they started to take the outpost. Get that greedy, Jesus.
I'm really interested to see who goes towards this bot lane where the Enigma is, though.
30 seconds to battle.
And he might not even stay down here. We might see some lane switcheroos going on here. Your favourite?
Leaning shuffle, man. That's why it's got its own song, because it happens so much now.
Old 11 checking for a ward mid.
I will say, before this game gets really started, if anybody can make the laning shuffle song and animate it or something, or make it into a real song, maybe drop the beat a little bit, I'm down for that. Back to the game, though. One apiece in games here in this best of 5. And so far, it looks like Chalice and X-Nova will stay up in the top lane, while Old 11 will be joined by FY. The thing is, like, you need a moment where you feel like Enigma is ready to just be by himself, potentially, because FY likes roaming with this hero. And it wouldn't be a bad idea to see him be up towards top, where you can get the toss into, you know, the Frost Shield and the Rocket Barrages with an Avalanche when they're all level 2. So
I really like this play from Vici, though. You should always go for a kill at level 1, I think, when you have a Tusk in the game on your side. Like, your support just stays for a second. If you can't get the kill, it doesn't matter. It's like, look how scared they are at the moment on LGD with these two heroes. So, like, DY can just rotate bot soon if he wants, but you might as well, you just look for the kill at the start of the game, because you might catch them off guard. And now that Grimshot is going to show bot lane, Chalice can sleep a little bit easier at night.
But FY's here, and he's going to come around. Oh, he's got his Avalanche, though, no toss. So I don't really expect him to do much in this situation.
FY's like, guys, every time I've played Tiny, we've had lane switcheroo, so I always get a free lane at the start of the game. This is unacceptable that I'm not getting a free lane at the moment to get my level 3 in like 3 minutes, while my cores will move across the map.
Yeah, he was able to get level 3. That's one of the things that lets him excel is, ooh, he gets one courier. Embers gets really close. He was looking for a second.
What did Embers courier bring out? Was it a salve or something? Look what FY's doing here, by the way. Like this play where he messes with the creep camp is just to stop DY from pulling the creep camp afterwards. Because like, now the creep camp's going to go back from DY, and so he has to re-aggro it again. But FY's here to try and rescue the creep wave a little bit.
But Avalanche comes in on Ori, laying down the Midnight Pulse. Nothing more. Only level 1, so no toss to work with.
Both the offlaners having a really good time, though, at the moment.
Yeah, 11 and 2 for the Pangolier, 9 and 6, and that's what we were talking about, is those denies from Old 11.
Worth talking about, by the way, this tag team swashbuckle, it doesn't work how you'd expect it to do. The tag team effect only procs on the first hit of the swashbuckle, not every single one, which would otherwise be absolutely ridiculous. Oh, Chalice.
And they're going to go. They've got the Snowball as well as the tag team, but Chalice eating a lot of that damage. Swashbuckle comes through, and it's that early Frost Shield that really keeps Chalice pretty healthy in this lane in that engagement.
Yeah, and this is why they valued it so highly in the drafting stage, as their like pick against the Tusk. Oh, DI can't connect the pull, unfortunately.
Vortex on Eurus. He's taking a lot of damage.
Toss back on Ori, bot lane.
More finish some of that strength. You get the toss as well as the Avalanche. Ori, Inked Swell now looking over the Tiny, but the damage from the Ions as well as the Enigma. First blood's there for FY. Oh dear.
That's really good for him, and he's going to get...
Oh, but Chalice, a good return kill, and the Swashbuckle should be a second. Ooh, I say that though. Has a lot of charges in that stick, so he's able to survive.
I'm surprised they don't have an Orb of Venom on this top lane between them on Vici. I feel like it's super value here. Especially, you know, stacking up with the tag team slow as well would be pretty nice. I want to see whether PYW puts a second point on tag team or if he goes 1-1-1 on the Tusk.
I am a little shocked just because Tusk usually it's shards and then the tag team, but not the worst in the world, and yeah, it is the 1-1-1.
Oh, they're gonna get him as well.
Storm mid, taking a lot of damage. They've got the shard, Snowball, and down goes Somnus. Tossed back towards the tower, but it's really not going to matter for much. FY makes the rotation, nothing he can do there.
Great rotation by PYW. Nice inventory spawning top. Feels pretty good. Look top lane as well. Like Yang's just 1v2ing and he doesn't care. Like he's still just running at them constantly.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Chalice struggling a little bit on this gyrocopter, but still CSing okay. Not as
Or he's actually struggling bottom quite a bit.
I was about to say I think Chalice is the one that's struggling the least out of the two carries here.
Well, actually, Ori, he's not in his normal mid lane. They've got Eurus mid on the Morphling, and Ori playing in that safe lane.
Yeah, I was a little bit unsure about this. I mean, obviously Morphling can go mid as well, and it's a decent matchup against Storm, but I did think they would play the Ember there. But I guess they feel like the Ember can... Oh, mid lane! Jesus, Eurus. Ooh, has to pop his stick charges.
Summonus is doing a lot of damage, but it was that help from the Tusk that was able to get them this kill, and it might be again.
Summonus mid.
Snowball shards, though, blocks him out. They've got the Avalanche. It slows up PYW as well as Eurus. However, Somnus not looking to re-engage on that. Maybe if he was level 6, but not there. And he's a half level behind Eurus. Maybe even a little bit more.
He has a wave coming in though. Like there's 2 range cubes, right? So he's fine.
Bottom, they do get DY. Old 11 though. Ori with the Flame Guard burns him out, so Old 11 falls for the Grimstroke. Not exactly the trade you want to be giving up. He is going into the Necro Book, and hopefully you'll have that soon, but that is a big setback.
Yeah, that's a sad death because it delays his first Necro Book usage, right? And which he would have really liked to try and put some pressure on the tower with the catapult.
Mid again, Eurus. Hit with that Electric Vortex. FY doesn't have toss or anything to work with onto this Morphling. They do bring X-Nova towards the mid lane, but it won't turn into
That's a difficult kill to get in this mid lane. Like you have to zip in on Somnus and get the pull off and then hope that the Tiny can get in range to follow up toss. But yeah, I mean, with how slow the zip is at level 1 on the Storm, it's definitely not an easy kill.
Swell doesn't pop on anybody, but here comes FY again. They're trying to find some of these supports. They do still have Yang here. Rocket Barrage though ripping through DY. DY gets a Stroke of Fate off. X-Nova comes in. They've disarmed this Tiny, but they lose the Grimstroke and nothing more.
Broom handle for the Storm. Nice. I'm sure that he's loving seeing that. Nice ward by FY here as well. And that's the thing about these other position forwards. The other thing about these position forwards to rotate around. Oh, hang on, PYW top
Electric
lane.
Vortex. They've got the Snowball all the way to the creep. But the Sinister Gaze is in. Rocket Barrage is also on top of him. Somnus gets the kill on a PYW, making it 4-3 for LGD.
Yeah, Somnus is going to have to TP back to base though. Like in the meantime, Eurus is just free farming this middle lane, having a great bit of space here.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
I think when Yang gets level 6 on this Pangolier, they're going to try and be a lot more active up here on Vici, but hang on.
They're trying to go with the Swashbuckle as well as the Inkswell, but now the turnaround once again. Avalanche toss coming through, and Snowball gets the save for a moment. Tag team used. Jesus! FY taking a lot of damage. That causes Yang to go down. They'll look over at Chalice. Body blocks from X-Nova. With the Rocket Barrage, Stroke of Fate slows him up. PYW, Inkswell, and the Sinister Gaze. Great job by X-Nova. That'll keep the Gyro alive, and I don't think they get the kill on this Lich either. Unless he really does just run it down, which, okay.
PYW might die for this though.
Yeah, they've got the Avalanche. They'll trade. I'm not really certain X-Nova needed to die there, though.
I mean, but it's worth it if FY gets the kill, right? So, in the meantime, by the way, in bot lane, Old 11 got a solo kill on the Ember by using Black Hole and using the Necro Book to just rip through him really quickly, which I think is like probably bigger than any of the kills that happened up in the top lane there. Because look at the level difference between the two of them at the moment. Like this Enigma's a whole level ahead of him now, and with this Necro Book back up again, especially at the 10-minute catapult wave, we're going to see Old 11 really ramp up the pressure and possibly see some support rotations towards the bot lane. And Chalice and X-Nova are actually already coming. They want to get another kill on this this Ember here.
Scott Malefice, he tried to use it. Homing missiles coming through. Midnight Pulse takes away the trees. He's got the Remnant. So if he goes over, they're still going to hit this homing missile. And there's the Sinister Gaze. He's got another Remnant to go to, so they won't get the kill. They do force him away, and that should open up the tier 1 tower.
Yang's rolling thundering top as well. FY with the
Radiant's
dancing
bottom
shoes on
tower
though.
is under attack.
Yeah, and this is a great rotation by LGD though, because they get this top
Radiant's
bot tier 1 for
bottom
free.
tower
Sorry,
has fallen.
like the problem for them is that Morph's still free
Dire's
farming in the
middle
middle lane.
tower is under
But
attack.
you know, the fact they get an objective without Vici being able to do the same top is a big win for them.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Top lane again, Inkswell. Venom's Embrace on the Tiny. Now, one shot from dead. Stroke of Fate comes in. Yang gets the kill. Takes out FY. But, that being said, the both outposts, I believe, both outposts go to the Dire.
Big win for
Which
LGD
is
again.
always big.
So much more.
I just realised we didn't get a Timber pick. I'm really disappointed.
Still no Timber pick. 2 games to go.
Come on, guys.
A lot of time.
Keen Optic. Nice sign for the Storm if he wants it, or even for the Tiny as well is probably the best one.
Never refuse gold given.
Oh, okay, he's going to take it on Enigma actually, just pass the brooch over to Gyro, which is really good as well. Still only level 6 on the Gyro, by the way. About to hit 7, to be fair.
Inkswell again. That pops on FY. Rolling Thunder comes in. FY taking a lot of damage, but he still has the Frost Shield, finally. Or he makes a rotation and Remnants in. But this is a lot of commitment so far for just FY. Like, really just a lot of commitment.
Yeah. Tough one.
11, what does he have now? Arcane Boots. So let's see. Is it Guardian Greaves into the Blink BKB? Is he going to go that route? Or is it just Arcane Boots, Blink BKB?
Good question. I'm glad he's picked up a wand. I think every hero should be buying wand. But does he go for BKB first before the blink? I think he's going to go blink BKB here, right? But I don't know what order he's going to do it in.
Snowball still looking for Somnus. Hero's coming over. Ball lightning getting some distance. Shards are down. Avalanche toss. A lot of damage onto PYWX. Nova is here. He's not level 6 to throw a Chain Frost or anything, so FY just kind of fizzles out and dies. Just, again,
Radiant structures
over aggression.
Yang wants this in the bot lane.
That maybe pulls him out of position. Rolling Thunder now on to Old 11. Or at least looking for Old 11. It didn't actually hit him or anything. Meanwhile, Malefice and Swashbuckle away from Yang.
Dire's middle
And that's
tower
it.
is under
Just
attack.
a
In
bit of a
meantime,
back
again-
and forth.
Mid lane. You're free farming away, starting to push the tower in now. Down to about half HP.
He's sitting top of the net worth. So a lot of space for him.
I think Chalice is struggling a bit on this Gyrocopter again because of the lane he had though, right? Like it's the same as last game where he's had this difficult laning stage. And he's really feeling it. Going for that BKB first time. And he's going Blink first on Enigma. I think it's okay. I think it's good. If he can catch them off guard with a black hole from the Blink, right, then could do massive work. But he does have things to cancel it. You know, there's the Grimstroke with the silence, especially. I think it's the big one. You know, Tusk can stun him with the snowball.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Everyone has a way except Pango, really.
Is under attack.
Rolling Thunder, what there?
Looking for me?
Rolling Thunder again, but... Okay.
Okay. It's so difficult for Yang to push this out there, right? Because he knows that the whole of LGD are down here, and they're going to get the tower anyway.
Has fallen.
So LGD doing a really good job of just controlling this bottom half of the map at the moment. And this is 2 towers down that have gone pretty much uncontested by Vici down here. Top jungle though, maybe.
Radiant's bottom
Yeah, they've
tower
got Somnus with the Searing Chains, but Old 11 makes the rotation after taking that tier 2 bottom. These heroes try to go in onto the Storm Spirit. They can't find them. If they had pushed even further, they might have found themselves into a lot of trouble with the black hole.
Yeah. Eurus does take mid tier 1 though, by the way. So Vici do get something back.
Avalanche. Rocket Barrage, call down. Chain Frost, X-Nova with the Sinister Gaze. Doing a lot of damage, but the Swashbuckle brings X-Nova to about half. They still can't get the kill on anybody here on the Vici side. LGD lose 2, make it a third. X-Nova challenge as well as FY are gone. The silence with the Phantom's Embrace makes it a 4th. Somnus down. Vici, they come away like bandits on that one with a couple heroes getting really low in that situation. They would have loved to have a Blink Black Hole right there because that could have changed the landscape of that fight.
There's 3 items they really need on LGD to take fights at the moment, and it's the Blink on Tiny, the Blink on Enigma, and they also really need the BKB on Gyro. Because at the moment, his effective output in the fights is just using spells, but like Eurus doesn't really care because he can just attribute shift through it anyway. Like they don't have the potential to pick people off without the blinks on the 2, like on the 3 and the 4. And FY might be in trouble top again, or he missed the chains, unfortunately. Never mind. Yeah, and this Enigma, I think when the blink comes online, it's going to be massive pressure on LGD to make plays.
Black Hole on Just Yang. They'll take it though.
Middle tower
I think that's fine. That kills the kill, right? They get the courier as well. So
has been killed.
decent. There's the blink
top.
Enigma now as well.
They look for DY. They'll get the kill. FY loses his life, so a 1-for-1 trade. Ori now sitting dominating as he's 5-2.
It feels like this is the most rough time we've seen of FY playing this Tiny. Like in terms of what he's able to get, because he feels like he usually gets a decent blink timing, right?
Yeah.
And I think this is possibly the slowest we've seen yet from him. Like, I'm not saying he should have a faster blink by now, not at all, but it just means this game is going to be, you know, a lot less impactful than it has been in others.
The thing is, that usually stems from lane shuffles.
Dire's courier has been killed.
Again, a Rolling Thunder coming through, but here's the rotation from Old 11 as well as FY. Ori Eurus, as well as Yang, all up here. Avalanche toss, call down, a lot of damage being done. We've got the snowball, pulls in everybody, and now they're going for a ride onto this gyrocopter. They've got themselves the Walrus Punch. They'll get the kill on a Chalice now. Coming through is Somnus, but can he get anything from this? Good Soulbind. Soulbind
big Inkswell
up to the Lich, and it's a 3-man Inkswell shield crash on top. Ori does die to FY. So they do get the kill on the Ember. Old 11 taking a lot of damage. The adaptive strike is in. Eurus now focuses his attention over to Somnus, but Old 11 dies to PYW. They get the kill on the DY, the swashbuckle forward, as well as the disarm. He could try and go with the ball lightning over to try and get a kill on a PYW, but FY is here and he's already finished him off. They've got the swashbuckle once again. Somnus sitting low, toss back. That keeps Somnus alive. And he gets a courier for his trouble, but here comes Eurus to finish him off with the adaptive strike.
They really want FY, but he's so fast with these Shrunk Boots, I don't think they catch him.
Swashbuckle, adaptive strike, stuns him up,
max
Rolling
strength more.
Thunder. And Avalanche comes in. Oh, wow. FY with the dancing shoes once again. Swashbuckle, X-Nova, Frost Shield, still slow. Adaptive strike hits, though, and they finally get the kill onto the Tiny.
I feel really bad for FY that he managed to do everything pretty much perfectly there, but he still ends up dying. That's really sad. Some really big things that fight, by the way. They don't have Black Hole on LGD, right? So the fight's instantly difficult straight away because they don't have that big, you know, team fight potential. DY just runs in with 3 points in Inkswell and stuns up 3 heroes. Otherwise, the fight would have been an absolute disaster for Vici. So DY turns that around massively there, and then somehow, I don't know if you saw, maybe dodged the waveform on Storm Spirit by like hiding in the trees and then running back down again. That was so sick by him.
Oh, Jesus, the E-Blade.
Here now.
Woo!
Dire's top tower is
I
under
think if he'd have been a little bit more patient there and waited to turn into the storm on Eurus, he probably would have got the kill, but you know, Morph was still on 15-second cooldown or still. So it's difficult to say. Because then you have the pull, right? You can steal, so...
Dire's top tower.
Chalice
is under
again.
Oh, boy. Snowball, Walrus Punch. Silence with the Phantom's Embrace. They get the kill.
Dire's top tower.
And
has
it
fallen.
does very much feel like for last game for LGD though, in the sense that they have these 3 cores that all need farm. So, like, Old 11 on this Enigma, he's like the win condition here almost. So you understand, like, if he gets BKB Blink and he black holes, like we said, they don't really have a play.
Precious bounty.
Dire are scanning.
But it means that the Storm and the Gyro have less
Dire's
space on the
middle
map
tower
to
is
take
under
the safe
attack.
farm. So that now they have 3 cores that all need farm. And Vici doing the same thing where they just run at them over and over again and punish that little bit of greed. Like this Yang on this Pangolier, if you compare the offlanes, he's taken part in 13 kills. Old 11's taken part in 6. And the ones that Old 11 did take part in, some of them were some solo kills as well, right? Like down in that
Dire's
bot lane
top
on the
tower
Ember.
is under attack.
And on the
Radiant's
Pangolier.
middle tower
Oh
is
no,
under
Yeah.
attack.
never mind. He had a +1 with him.
Oh yeah. So, like, he's just being a lot more like greedy overall on the, which is how you have to play on Enigma though, right? It's a draft thing, but it just means Chalice suffers really hard because of it all, and he's going to get first fight in BKB, but it's going to be like so late into the game.
Jesus. X-Nova blown up.
This is going to be.
Blink, but the Rolling
Old
Thunder. Old 11?
He has no BKB. Okay.
Now you see what you are up against.
We'll leave that one. And they ping out the roach pit. They have Tusk Morph. Let's see how long it takes them to do this.
Old 11's
Oh,
working on that BKB. That it's going to be a while till it feels like maybe he can jump in there and slap down a good black hole. Even then, I think Vici have done a good job of spreading themselves out.
But again, it's the same as the 2 games before. Whoever feels like they have the tempo in the early stages of the game, like from the laning stage, just feels so far ahead. And Chalice is going to run into them again.
Oh, Jesus. The E-Blade, the Snowball, the Walrus Punch all in on the Chalice. The Avalanche on a 3. He stays alive for a little bit longer, but shards are there. Oh my God. FY. Had he kept him alive, that would have been wild.
Oh no, X-Nova!
Jesus. He's just like, I can't play Dota. I'm not allowed to play Dota. I walk even in my own base. E-Blade dead. Adaptive Strike comes down.
Oh, and they pick up a bounty rune from the shovel. They're actually,
GG!
oh my god!
Whoa!
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Whoa!
VG Gaming. Victory.
Whoa! I don't think I've seen LGD ever call a GG like that before. Like in any games that I've cast, at least.
I have never seen that
Whoa.
from LGD personally.
Like, we
Whoa.
talked about how far Vici were in front, right? But... that's a spicy meatball, that one. The problem is, and I talked about how LGD have this, like, more greedy lineup, right? When you play against these top teams, and you give them an inch from the advantage in the laning stage, they take absolute miles of advantage. So, like, 6k gold advantage doesn't sound like a huge amount at this point in the game, right? But the way that LGD must be feeling at this point in the game, like, Chalice can't go anywhere. Like, maybe he's really struggling in terms of farm. Old 11 doesn't even have his BKB yet. And I think LGD need to know that Vici have Aegis, right? So they're just going to go high ground here. And they probably feel like that without the Enigma BKB, they lack so much, like, potential to take fights. And I still think that's a really early GG from LGD. You know, I didn't expect that from them at all, but...
Yeah.
You've got to
still at the
question
black
if
hole.
they're... Yeah, exactly, right? But you've also got to question whether they're going to be in a good state mentally now going into Game 4. Can they turn the series around? Because Vici 2-1 up now. All they need is one more win and they win the series. And after seeing a GG like that, LGD doesn't feel like they're in a good place.
No, that was I think the fastest I've ever seen them. I've never, like we said, I've never seen them really GG out like that. Even in those open qualifiers that they lost, they fought till the end. Even when they were behind, 20,000 net worth, they would try till the end. But maybe that's a situation they thought was unwinnable. Of course, Eurus was 10-0-6. Like, that was certainly an uphill climb, for sure. But to GG like that is
To be
wild.
fair, the last minute of that game was absolutely horrendous for LGD. Like, Old 11 TV's top and dies without being able to do anything before he has BKB. Then Vici go down and they take the Roche for free. Goes uncontested. Then they smoke. They run into Chalice, who pops his BKB and still ends up dying. Who FI then blinks in to try and save him, but still ends up dying to the swashbuckle. And then they kill the Tiny as well. So like that whole minute or minute and a half of movement, LGD are like, get us out of this game. Like,
maybe X Nova made the call because he just walked. He goes, "Oh, Morphling, great! I'm dead. This is awesome," and just gets two-shot real quick.
Like that game feels so rough. And again, even though it was a 6k net worth advantage, I actually think it was a lot more than that for Vici, just because Eurus is 10-0-6. Like he has an Aegis, they can't even kill him once. Like there's no Spirit Vessel, right? Like on LGD side, they don't have a core that builds one, which is makes the Morphling even stronger than usual. But yeah, I mean, dominating from Vici. Honestly, that's kind of what we saw in the upper bracket from them before, and that's what I was hoping we would avoid the whole of this series. But they just show up in this series, like 100%.
Yeah,
And,
they do a really good job, and we'll see what LGD bring to Game 4. We'll be back in a moment with Game 4 between Vici and LGD. Vici with the 2-1 lead in this series, one game away from claiming the championship. I'm your caster, BCOP, joined here by Mofara at BCOP82 on Twitter, at Mofara Dota on Twitter. Follow us to know when we're casting, and to help us get that check mark. 2-1 Vici. We'll be back with Game 4. Stay right there.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's turret has been killed. Dire's top tower is under attack.
All right, here we are with more OGA Dota Pit coming at you live, not a rerun chat. Stop saying it. We're here with Game 4 between Vici and LGD, as Vici have themselves a 2-1 lead over this LGD side. They GG'd in, what did that last game say? 22 minutes, something like that. It was very downhill very quickly for LGD, and well, and now they got to pull themselves back. They got to get 2 in a row, which we said coming into this series, Vici were the stronger team, or looked like the stronger team throughout the tournament, especially after that 2-0 win over LGD. Of course, maybe a little bit tarnished, or not tarnished. Is tarnished the right word? Because of the fact that Chalice dealt with that first game with a boatload of ping. So kind of gave some slack there to LGD. But at the end of the day, it ends up that, Vici show who they are. Very good team. Probably up there as one of the best teams in China. These are probably the 1-2 of China. So again, any day of the week, these series can really go back and forth. It's how you evolve, especially in a best of 5. And LGD have an opportunity to evolve coming into this Game 4. So we'll see what happens. Game 3, if you're LGD, yes, you just GG'd out. Maybe you're a little bit tilted. Who really knows? But you need to figure it out. You gotta try and turn it around. Maybe call Jake from State Farm, get some advice, and switch it up, because this is your last chance.
Yeah, I do question whether they have the capability to be able to turn that around after such an awful game before from them. When I say awful, I don't mean in terms of like playing things, but like their mentality, right? Like to call a GG like that and then try and turn it around in the space of 10 minutes. It's a difficult thing to do. I mean, LGD have been there and they've done it all before. So if anybody can, it's them. But I think they're in a difficult place now. They probably just wanted to reset, just start the next game. Because the thing is, they're probably only going to fall further and further behind there, right? So, 99.9% of the time they will, at least. So they just want to reset, go for a game with a different draft, just give it their all. Because they've got to win this game now. They've got to win 2 games in a row for the 3-2. So they might as well give it everything they've got.
It's their last chance. Well, if you're LGD, bans go whatever way, what lineup do you want to see from LGD here? What's their comfort? What's their best? Based on also what Vici have been playing against them. It's a difficult question, I know.
I think this Ember's been okay for them. I mean, I really don't like them when they play this Gyrocopter. I feel like they sack Chalice a little bit too much in terms of like what he can get off the map. But I think that's also because of Old 11's playstyle and a lot of the heroes he plays. I would like to see him play something a little bit less greedy this time. So a little bit more conventional offlaner possibly. But it's what LGD have got this far in the competition in, remember? Like, they're in the final.
Yeah, for sure.
They've beaten all the other teams. Like, Vici's the only one that they're struggling with. And it's Vici, guys. Like, come on.
Yeah.
It's Vici versus LGD. The 2 best teams in China, I would argue, at the moment. If not, then, they're pretty much almost there.
And, the thing is, a lot of the people want to put this on, say, Chalice or something like that. Like, it's not just him who's struggling in these games. It's everybody on LGD when they get a loss like that. And I understand it's not Ame. You're putting a lot of pressure on this guy who's come in to fill a role for one of the most, memorable LGD players to cross your faces, and now you just want to put it all on Chalice. But at the end of the day, these are the top two teams. You're gonna lose some games to the top teams. It's gonna happen, and if it happens when you're in a best of 5, it happens. But you need to also understand that LGD overall recently have played very well. I think Chalice is still coming into his own in this position with LGD, of course. So it's difficult.
Let's see how the draft adapts this time from last game as well. We see that Venge banned out again. LGD play against Deucer twice, and they're like, we don't want to play against Deucer Venge again. It's horrendous. So they banned it out last game. They're going to ban it out this game as well. And I don't know if we'll see anything too different from the bans in comparison to last game. I think LGD, they might ban out the Tusk potentially, because I think Vici plays so well with that hero. Like, I was really surprised it got let through.
Well,
but they
may not ban it
instead.
They may not ban it out if they want it, because they've got that first pick.
True. Very different now, because that is true actually. And they just banned Morph out first phase. Wow. Okay. So again, with these supports that are going to be coming potentially through, the Shakers, the Keeper of the Light still in the pool as well, which is something that's been banned out every single game so far, I'm pretty sure. Keeper of the Light, Tusk, Shaker. What else is there? Oracle as well, I guess. Has been pretty prevalent this series. This is it's so difficult to ban in these situations. Yeah, and they're going to take the Tusk out again, which we haven't even seen this whole series, by the way, because LGD have banned out first phase every single time because of Yang.
Yeah, now they banned that Coddle, which has been a very strong hero for LGD, and really a strong hero just overall. But on top of that, it's been a much more picked by we see it on X Nova a lot.
So Vici are probably going to be banning Shaker, I would imagine. They really don't want to give that to FY. They seem to first phase ban it every single time. So LGD need to decide what they want as their first pick here. And again, Tusk is still in the pool, and Shaker, so they could get one of those. But then you have to think Vici, if they don't ban the Shaker, then that means that LGD are going to pick one of them, and then Vici are going to pick the other, right?
But Grimstroke's still available with the Ember, so you could just go to that Grimstroke Ember for one of these teams too.
But then Oracle's still in the pool as well, which makes Grimstroke really difficult. There's so many different things you have to think about, and that's why I think it's taken them a little bit of time to think about these first phase bans, rather than just instantly picking them and knowing straight away. So I'm just to see if Vici actually ban Shaker here, if they let them both through, and pick up the other one for themselves. Because it's kind of like a trade-off, right? So I think they would consider letting them both through, because otherwise LGD get one or the other, and then Vici don't get the opposite.
This is what we've been talking about, where we're seeing these bans now. We see the Morphling ban and the Venge ban, the evolution of the best of 5, where now we're seeing different bans come into play, and that opens up a lot more heroes that we see players a lot more dominant on. And there's the Oracle ban, so we're not going to see the X Nova Oracle. We're not going to see Oracle at all. This could be a Tusk or a Grimstroke. So now this gives Tusk over to Vici, who love it too. BYW destroys with that hero.
That Oracle ban's so sick though, right? Because what it does is it says to LGD, if you don't take Shaker or Tusk in first phase, we're going to take Grim +1 as our opening 2, and then you don't have the Oracle to cover yourself again as your second pick overall. But now LGD take it and they say, okay, well, we'll just take the Grimstroke then because you've banned the Oracle, and then you can pick whatever you want out of the Shaker and the Tusk, and then we'll take the other one afterwards anyway, most likely. Unless Vici pick them both, which I very much doubt they will. That was cool by both those teams, actually. Mind games. Massive, massive mind games.
So, potentially the Ember, which is something we talked about being really strong here for Somnus. They go Mars this time, so it gives options. But I think if you're LGD, and you want that Ember, it has to be picked here. Otherwise, it's getting banned for sure.
They might want Ember, they might want Shaker. I think they're the two big ones for me. They could go Beastmaster as well. I talked about,
Yeah.
I'm assuming Old 11 can play it, but, Grimstroke Beastmaster's still pretty good as well. They could go Monkey King as well, I think is another option, which is something that's been banned out a lot in the second phase, I'm pretty sure. But yeah,
There's
they do
that
go
Ember.
Okay. That's probably the most standard pick they could have gone for there. So LGD back to their maybe Ember most likely. Could be Chalice, but I think maybe's been playing it like 99% of
Yeah.
the time for them.
He's already played it two times this series, so I wouldn't be surprised for this to be the mid Ember. We'll see if the Earthshaker gets banned. First picks for Vici, so they don't. Yeah, well, they could go Mars 1 again. They've been playing the Mars in the 1 position. This isn't necessarily their offlaner. Would it be worth going into something like the Earthshaker if you've already got something like a Mars on your team? Like, does that maybe strap you down too much?
Yeah, you can't go Shaker on Vici, but LGD still could. They're probably going to look to pick their 5 next on Vici. So Lich is still in the pool. But a lot of the others have been taken out.
We've seen him once, but Witch Doctor, maybe,
Potentially.
wouldn't be the worst thing in the
Yeah.
world.
But it's difficult to pick Witch Doctor before you know what the enemy offlaner is, I think. Like, Witch Doctor's really good when you see, like, Centaur, right? Or, like, one of those big tanky brawlers, like Mars as well in the offlane. Doesn't like playing against Witch Doctor that much. But again, like, they have flex value, right, on Vici, so this could be Yang Mars, this could be Eurus Mars again, like we saw in Game 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Um,
And then I think you have options here for LGD. Doesn't necessarily need to be that 4-position Earthshaker. FY is the king of the Rubiks. Here with the Grimstroke, you can go to that if you so please.
for sure.
Offlane, we've seen, I think, Old 11 go Tidehunter. See if maybe that's the direction they want to go on. I think you do need to evolve a little bit.
This is a really difficult pick, I think. Well, they go Disruptor. Okay. Ooh. So I think we saw Bobica playing this as a POS 5 for Vici before. Not for Vici, sorry, for Rasta, I mean. But a lot of the other ones we've seen this tournament, especially from like Kakar and things, have been POS 4. So, but again, like, already, if you look at Vici's 3-4-5, or what, it could be 1-4-5, whatever, but these 3 heroes, when they're playing from in front, look so strong. But when they're playing from behind, they feel a little bit weak. So LG have to match the tempo here. Like, they have to be willing to be able to, get fighting early on, which is why I think something like the Shaker might be, you're so reliant on this blink timing, they might want something that can run at them a little bit sooner than that. I still think Clockwork's okay, it's not great, but they do go for the Shaker still.
There's that Earthshaker. Could be 3, could be 4. Very open.
It's so funny for me that the Shaker gets banned out first phase in both games, but they then don't ban it out in the second stage on Vici, almost as saying, like, we want you to take the Shaker, right? Like, we're going to ban the Panga instead. We felt like that was more annoying, and it gets through to the second stage of picks after being first phase banned in the other 3 games so far. I'm really interested to see what they pick here on Vici. You assume they're probably going to pick, like, their POS 2 here potentially, but then if they want the matchup mid advantage, they're going to pick that last. I think something like the Kunker's still decent for them. We've talked about how it bridges the gap, but it always gets bans out last by either of these teams. So if they feel like that's a decent matchup or a decent hero for them in the game, they could just pick it now instead.
And just talking about it earlier, we were talking about heroes that can go back, have that free trip back to base, come back, and Kunkka is one of those heroes where he's got the X, he'll TP, go back, come here, have a full bottle, have this, have that, and there he is. Shows up right away.
Yeah, I'm quite proud of myself that I got that, because I feel like it's it's a hero we haven't been able to see yet, but it's a hero that's been so important in this draft, like the whole time, even though it hasn't been picked. And I'm glad that Vici have recognised that if they don't pick it there, it's going to get banned. And it is a good hero for their draft, so why not just pick it now, right? Like, you're still now flexing the Mars between the position 1 and the 3, and you have last pick overall in the draft. So then you can decide, where do we want to play the Mars? Where do we want to think it's best? Like, in the game overall, considering we see every single one of LGD's heroes by the end.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a Timber game, dude. Oh my god!
We got it!
Yes!
We finally got it!
Chat, it's happening.
We called it like 3 days ago. We were going to see it in the finals only. He has been picked for the first time. He is here. He is here. This is like the Smash Brothers reveal when they were like, everybody's here. Timber is here. Oh my god, we've been talking about for days.
I said it just before as well. I was like, oh god, they could pick Timber, and they instantly pick it as soon as I say it straight away.
Gosh.
That's so sick, man. It's a really good Timber game. They have no, like, they have okay Magic Burst on Vici, and they've got a Vessel Buyer in Kunkka, so it's not a free Timber game, but it's pretty good. Like, neither of these supports deal with it really well either, so in the laning stage, Timber should have a relatively okay time. Oh my god, we actually get to see it. The first pick of the tournament after about 30 bans or something.
Oh my god.
Jesus.
Couple of tears of joy came out there.
I hope
We've been
chat
talking about
gets
this
excited
all
as us.
tournament.
You guys that have been following us in Twitch chat throughout the whole tournament will understand why we're so excited about this Timber pick. Because we've memed about it the whole tournament, about how it keeps getting banned and never picked. And we're finally here in the final, and we finally get
where
to
we
see
said it was going to be picked. Here are the stats on the Timber just before we get this last ban. Banned a total of 39 times. And now finally, picked once. It is here. It has arrived. Finally, we get to see a Timber game. And they banned the Monkey King. It was kind of looking that way.
The meme of the first phase ban or never getting picked is finally over, guys.
Curse
We
is
get to see
broken.
it.
Game
So,
5.
let's reset here. Let's think about what LGD needs. So I imagine they're going to give Old 11 this Timber, most likely. So they're probably going to pick some kind of like... I mean, it could be Chalice as well. Remember, you know, he plays the Timber as well. But it's going to be maybe on the Ember, like 99% of the time. So they could still flex the Shaker to 3 for Old 11 and put the Timber 1 if they wanted as well.
Ooh. Oh.
So it's Chalice on the Ember? I assume?
Could be a... Would it be TA? Trying to... Because, like...
No.
Isn't this a difficult
Chalice
matchup against the Kunkka?
Chalice isn't a mid player though, right? So like I think he's so like 100% less likely to play the TA than Somnus. I mean, they might try it and they might have practiced it and done something before, but I'd be very surprised. I think it's going to be the 3 Timber, the 4 Shaker, and then they can try lane around the Ember as well if they really want to, right? And then like put the Timber and the TAs in 1v1s, like ideally, because those two heroes would do super well in those.
But
I think they have to pick a carry hero here on Vici that scales well with damage. Something like TB might be okay, but it's pretty poor against Timber.
and that's that
okay.
Slark that you want against the Timber.
Good start game. They could even put it mid if they wanted to as well, but I think it's more likely to be the Kunkka.
So, but isn't this matchup not great for the Templar Assassin against the Kunkka?
It's okay. It kind of goes both ways though.
Yeah.
Like TA can do okay, but as soon as Kunkka hits level 6, there's massive kill potential, like with a rotation, right? So, unsure.
It's just coming up to the Timber pick on stream now. I'm excited. Just Somnus on the TA, Old 11 on the Timber Saw, finally. FY on the Eurus Shaker, Chalice on the Ember, X Nova on the Grimstroke, leaving Eurus on the Slark, Ori on the Kunkka, TY on the Disruptor, Yang on the Mars, and PYW playing that Tusk.
Okay. Old 11 Timber. How much work can it get done this game? Because I feel like he can just creep skip this game, right? And not really care about anything in the world.
Yeah.
Like they can't really like Disruptor's okay. It can kind of follow him around a little bit and get things done, but at the same time, I feel like this Timber has a pretty good time for most of the game at least. He has the Sark to be worried about later on, especially if Eurus builds up to a Silver Edge. Even a Skadi maybe if he wanted to, but I think this Silver Edge is going to be really key this game. It is a good Sark game overall though, we have to say. You know, Vici with the last pick of the draft have definitely picked a really good last pick overall. Oh, this is such an exciting game.
Finally get to see the Timber. Towards the end of that draft, they were waiting in the strategy phase, and I realized we're probably still on camera. We were just kind of like, we were probably just staring at our side screens or whatever for the last 30 seconds of that.
Oh yeah, probably. I wanted to see chat's reaction to the Timber pick. They weren't as near as excited as we were. I'm just a little bit disappointed.
They were why are these guys so excited is what I saw a couple times.
You guys haven't watched the whole event then, if you think that.
It just proves it, yeah. You guys have not been watching the entire event.
Oh god. That was for all you OG fans from the rest of the event. Don't worry. Us are obvious tree haters. You know what, Robert? Right. It's so funny when you on the old TI games, you know, when it would give you the questions of like how many trees would be destroyed.
How many trees get destroyed?
And there's a goddamn Timber in the game, and you're like, I have no idea. Like infinite. It could be anything.
So I'm so much of a tree hater that I
30
actually
seconds
donated
left.
against the Mr. Beast foundation that he started for all those trees.
So
Not
I
really,
imagine
though, not
FY's going to do this creep manipulation thing that we've seen him do, by the way, on this Shaker. So like whether he Fisher blocks the wave like once or twice, maybe he Fisher blocks the Radiant wave under its tower. We'll have to see because
that fissure usually it's almost been one fissure for his end, and then towards the end, the fissure right before the Radiant Tower.
yeah, he's going to use it right outside his base, and then probably the second time again afterwards.
Yeah.
He might even let the range creep go first here and just block that melee side instead. We'll have to see what he does. I think do they go for the double block? Look at DY, dude. Get off! Stop! Please stop blocking the creep wave.
Focus me.
Yeah, he goes for the double block. Okay. This is good. But look, Eurus is letting the range creep through as well, so this lane isn't even going to push towards the Dire side. If this range creep dies first on the Radiant, this is actually pretty good for Vici. And considering they double Fisher block that wave, Eurus has done a
And
super
deny.
good job there.
Wow.
But now the wave stacks up. So there's basically two that come in at once for LGD. FY blocks the small camp with his body.
So I saw Timber in the CIS region EU earlier today. It was the CIS final, I believe, for We Play Division 2.
Just look at
And
Eurus.
the Timber Saw went up against the Sark.
What?
He's going to get first blood here with the Timber Chain. And this is something I wanted to talk about because when I saw the Timber Saw against the Sark in that CIS matchup, he went 1 point into reactive armor, but then started maxing out Whirling Death and Timber Chain, focusing on Timber Chain first.
Yeah, I mean, because you can't really trade effectively against the Slark, so he'll probably. I think he'll end up going 2-1-2 most likely, but we'll see.
Dang, also
Dies top
dying.
lane.
Discover what lies beyond.
But dude, I will never understand why on this Timber Saw at level 1, Timber Chain costs 60 mana and it does 100 damage on a hero that can spam it out on a 4-second cooldown.
Find your presence
Like,
offensive. Zen.
why? Why is that a thing?
To go top again. I mean, we're wrapping on Yang a little bit, or trying to. They got that kill, and I'm surprised because that's a Mars Tusk lane that could be pretty strong with that early tag team.
How's mid going anyway? I haven't looked at this yet. Oh, okay. Somnus with a little bit of an early lead, but not massive, which I think is to be expected in this lane.
Timber. Moving forward on the Yang. Inkswell, good job. Good job
they're
with the
gonna turn
snowball.
now.
Now they go after X-Nova for a second, or maybe even turn their attention over to Chalice. With the tag team and the God's Rebuke, they get the kill.
This Tusk here is so good against Grimshake, man. Like, when you hit this level 2 mark, you can just dodge the Inkswell. Like, so reliably every single time. Unless you have you get chained up at the last second by the Ember, then, you're just going to dodge it. And then, what do? He actually gets 2 points in Timber Chain, level 3 on the Timber, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about from that previous matchup that I saw this on, was just one in the reactive armor and goes into the Whirling Death level 4, but he decides to go reactive armor 2.
Yeah, and then he goes for the second point reactive armor. I think this is fine. I think he's probably going to keep just 2 in the reactive armor, I would assume. And then just max out his skills instead. But yeah, now it just comes because the second point in not living armor, reactive armor just allows you to creep skip like this. And you get so much tankier.
Ooh. FY was looking to throw a fissure. Now he finally gets it down. Ori taking a lot of damage. They'll rotate over the Disruptor. But with PYW and the Disruptor making a rotation, Kinetic Field is down. Somnus in trouble. They land to the X as well as the Torrent. They get the kill onto this TA. And that is a good turnaround from Vici after maybe they got themselves baited in by their own fissure. Thought that they can get in on this.
Guess what we've returned to, B-Cup? Why is everybody at the mid lane? What minute is it?
It's the 4-minute power rune.
It's the 4-minute power rune. We're back to the 3v3 mid, sorry, not 5v5, at the 4-minute mark. All the supports rotate in.
And that was the rotation coming in from PYW originally to help get that power rune. But then Disruptor TP'd in, had enough time, and it works out that way because PYW is walking over. If PYW is not working over, I don't think that kill goes that way.
I want to talk about X-Nova's skill build here on the Grimshake, because normally I really hate this build. Right? I was playing with my friend last night who did this. I completely disagreed with it, but this game I actually think he has to. Like, normally you go like 1-0-2, right, and play with the Ember, but we've talked about how good this snowball is, so it means he has to take a point in Phantom's Embrace. Otherwise every single time, like, he's just going to snowball the wave, right? And just dodge the Inkswell damage. Yeah, like here.
He's silenced first, so he can't snowball. But now he's got the snowball going over the neutrals. Chalice right on top of it, gets hit by it. However, with one more shot, will get the kill, has the slight. Now looks over at Yang, who doesn't have mana to work with, however does have that soul ring. He pops the salve and stays in lane.
So yeah, it's just a really good adaptation by X-Nova there to just take the point in Phantom's Embrace, which normally like I said, I just wouldn't like, but in this situation it feels really good.
So then Old 11 over towards bottom. They have the Kunkka come in, and that helps them to get the kill. X and the Ghost Ship through, killing off this Timber Saw. And Timber's now gone into the 0-2-3, so started with the early Timber Chain and goes back into the reactive armor.
His courier did die first, by the way, before, and he's actually going Necrobook again on this Timber. Look at his inventory just fill up because his courier died before. I'm not sure why he's going this Necrobook. Seems to be building it on every hero.
Yang?
But
Chalice, he has Searing Chains in just a second, but Slight's on cooldown for a lot longer, so unable to catch Yang on that one. Something
I want to go back to quickly, by the way, before we lose it, is that rotation down there by Ori to kill the Timber is bigger than just the Timber kill. Because he's with the catapult wave there on the Timber, so if Timber has a free moment there, where he can just like skip and freely push in the wave and things, he can like get a lot of damage on the tower as well. But because they kill him off, it means that this tower is no longer under threat at all in the bottom lane. So it's like a bigger overall like picture thing.
Thank you.
Chalice has 5-1 charges, but the tag team, the Shards, Inkswell, Chalice Slight, but Shards with the spear gets the kill. Chalice tried to go in on that with really low health, and I'm not really certain why he would try to fight that sitting on about 400. Meanwhile, mid TA doing a very good job, a level ahead of this Kunkka.
Nice thing about this Ember side lane, by the way, when you have TA mid, is that you can freely build this bottle and not worry that you're clashing for active rune spawns, especially. Because like TA doesn't really want to take them unless it's like a DD to take Roshan stuff, right? This Ember's going to be taking them every single time. BYW sees a nice little haste
Dire's
rune here.
middle tower is under attack.
Tally ho!
Eurus starting to get a lot of stacks in that essence shift.
Oh, he's gone for the 3 points though. Was it Eurus we saw do this before?
It might have been
Slark when he went.
Sylar.
Sorry, they went 1-1-4, didn't they? And I really disagree with that. I think 3 points is fine as long as he doesn't put any more in.
And look at how hard he's hitting FY. And yes, it gives the better duration, and maybe you're using that duration to have a better harassment overall. Goes, gets the pounce, snowball in.
Oh, what a
Timber
snowball.
Chain doesn't hit. The snowball comes in on time. Eurus will now get the kill on the Timber Saw, so it started okay for Timber, but now back-to-back deaths with Ori making the rotation and now PYW coming down bottom. Eurus picks up his second permanent agility, and this lane is really starting to open up for him.
It's the Vici Gaming Tusk, boys. It's back. Yeah, and I love that Eurus just kept 3 points in this effort shift. I think that's really good. And now you max Dark Pact because that allows you to farm up quicker. It's a big win. Big thumbs up from me. Mid lane, X, Torrent.
And they've got no ghost ship because they don't have the mana for it, but Tusk moves forward and Inkswell pops. PYW ends up dead. If they had the ghost ship, that probably ends a little bit differently. Just didn't have the mana to throw it.
Dire's bottom
Why is
tower
Old 11
under
going
attack.
Necrobook on Timber?
Ooh, Eurus throws a ward onto the high ground and is immediately dewarded.
Did that ward... Was it in range of the sentry already down? It must have
I
been.
think it was here, yeah.
Like, just. Yeah, I guess he was trying to block the Ancient Camp, right? It makes sense.
Ooh, they
Inkswell on the
got
Slark.
around his Slark Timber Chain, and Old 11 gets some revenge on Eurus. So Fissure hits, they've got the Inkswell, that pops, continuing to stun him up.
Dire's
All of a
top
sudden,
tower
they've got
is under
themselves a kill onto the Sark. They will lose X Nova here. Oh, yeah.
My people will wash over this land.
Shard stayed up long enough where even after the totem, he was destined to die.
And exactly how we talked about the Timber death down before in the bot lane, it's now the Slark death just as the catapult wave spawns. So now Timber can start shoving this lane in before Slark's prepared and set up. And I'm wondering here, yeah, Eurus isn't even going to bother coming. I think he just realizes he has to go top and try and pressure the lane. Top lane in the exact same way. Maybe he's going for this blink first as well on the TA, which I think is going to be really good. Try and get involved in these fights early on. You know, we've talked about how important the tempos have been in
Radiant's
both games so
bottom
far.
tower is under attack.
Yeah.
What is this snowball top?
Dire's middle
Okay.
tower is under attack.
Interesting. He has a regen rune on the Ember as well, right? So
Radiant structures
Doesn't really
are
achieve anything.
fortified. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
but they do keep their catapult alive on top lane on Vici.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Normally, we see Deso into the blink,
Dire's
but
top tower is under
surprised
attack.
this time it's different.
The blink is the item that allows you to fight sooner than the Deso would, though.
Yeah.
I've just realised the Timber Necrobook actually isn't even awful. Like it's okay because normally when you skip the waves, you can't push towers very quickly. But this Necrobook, like look how quickly it's doing damage to this tower, like tier 2 tower.
Tier 2 tower takes about 900 damage,
Arena.
and now they've got themselves the arena down. That's just to escape, but they've got the remnant, so Chalice keeps forward. Great soulbind from
Inkswell.
X-Nova. And there's the Inkswell. They'll get the pop on Ori and Yang. 3 kills there for LGD. And a very good job making the rotation over as the arena was dropped to try and get out defensively, but X-Nova happens to wander on the fight, has the soulbind, Inkswell, and a couple of kills there for LGD.
Radiant's middle tower
If anybody
is
on
under
your
attack.
you play with ever asked why Grimstroke Ember is so good, just show them that a little bit there. Like Ember just jumps in, has Inkswell on him, they get soulbound up together. Like what do? There's no play until they get BKBs online, right? And he has to go Vessel first on this Kunkka to be able to try and help deal with the Timber as well.
Spear misses, Searing Chains on to 2. They've got the Fissure to follow it up. Echo Slam's available for FY, so he might try to position himself
Snowball.
near this snowball. Doesn't actually get in time, but now the Echo Slam comes through. Somnus starting to output some damage, but if they lose X-Nova, shards are through. Locks up Chalice. They've got the glimpse. Can they get more with this? Torrent hits, God's Rebuke, Somnus low, hit with the Thunder Strike and the Spear coming in. The Fissure's just a little bit too late from FY to keep him alive, and now the Pounce
Here's
reaches him
Timber,
up, and they'll get the kill. X pulls back this Timber into the Static Storm. They've got the Ghost Ship, and they clean him up.
On the
Chalice
Emperor as
now
well.
hit with the Snowball, and he's in so much trouble. Gets the right.
They're gonna get the glimpse.
However,
They're gonna get the
DY
Radiant's middle tower is under
5 seconds.
on cooldown for 5 seconds, doesn't have the mana, has 6 thick charges, now has the mana.
Oh,
So
X-Nova.
glimpse back the Grim Stroke, and this is a very dead X-Nova for the second time this engagement. It goes so well for LGD, and then so well for Vici.
If Old 11 is there at the start of that fight, it's completely different, but I don't think he had TP up, so he had to walk all the way from bot lane to mid. And by the time he shows up, like, his team's just dead, and they just drop everything on him and kill him. So, yeah, not great. And now the Kunkka is going to have Vessel in like 500 gold or so, which means this Timber can't even play safe anymore, really. The other problem I have with this Necrobook is it delays your other items, right? I guess you farm a little bit quicker, but you have Wave Clear already on Timber, right? It shouldn't be a problem. And so you're delaying like your Arcane Boots, but then you're also delaying your first Purge item to take off Vessel charges.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Are scanning.
So what do they do if they're, with this Timber now that he's gotten into the Necro book, and how do LGD start to take a lead back? Because we talked about it in the draft. This lineup from Vici works so much better, of course, when they're able to snowball.
Dire's top tower
And right now
is
they've got
under
themselves a
attack.
lead, and they're starting to, hit the edge of the cliff and start to roll down.
I mean, for LG, it's the same problem they've had in the last couple of games, though, where their offlane is playing another greedy core, right? So they have 3 heroes that all need farm.
Dire's top tower has
And especially when you go for this Necrobook build, like in the DP game, the Enigma game and this game as well, like you're taking more farm off the map. Like nobody's creating space for LGD at the moment unless they group up and take a fight. Like nobody's looking for pickoffs. Like not until FY gets his blink on Shaker at least. So yeah, it's I don't know. They just have 3 core heroes that are all needing a little bit of time to come online. Vici, they have the arena up with the blink on Yang now, and they've got Static Storm up again, so Chalice might be the oh no, okay, they start wandering towards mid instead. I think the mid's the right play because they have a catapult here, and the mid tier 1 tower is the most important for them, but did they use that on an illusion? Or I think Chalice just jumped away to
He
a
just
remnant,
remnant
actually.
away. Yeah.
I would have really liked to have seen them play mid, but it was not to be.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
USD warding here. One of the best things about this Slark hero, you gain like permanent map control almost in a way.
We saw how good their map control was in the previous game too. As Chalice gets the kill onto Yang. And this
That's an Echo usage now.
Yeah, that
Okay.
was... Echo gets used now.
Next
Slark
Nova,
silence for a moment, maybe thinking about going back on X-Nova. He's got the glimpse from the Disruptor, and around him, one more shot will get another permanent agility. 7 permanent agility for him. Wow.
He's doing really well on this Slark. Like, it's a really good diffuser game for him as well. If he can get his damage off, he's going to be doing wonders here. He has to be a little bit worried about like the burst damage that can come through from the FY blink on the Shaker, the Timber Saw, and the TA as well, like all at once. But with this BKB, it should be able to be enough for now. That if he can get that BKB off in the fight, there isn't really too much that can stop him from getting his damage off.
And
he's gonna go
Deso, so we'll see if he can do anything with that. However, I say that, and there's the Spear with the Snowball, Static
Nice.
Storm, Walrus Punch, and down goes the TA. Missing the X Torrent on Chalice.
Biggest kill on the map there for Vici, getting that
Dire's
TA.
bottom tower is under
She's just
attack.
picked up her Blink Deso, but now you should be able to take this mid tower, I assume. There's a DD on the Kunkka here as well, but he doesn't actually have any Vessel
Bottom
charges,
tower is under attack.
which is a little bit worrisome. And I guess They do still have
Slark's
arena.
going to join in. They've got themselves the arena. The Soulbind locks up the Mars to the Slark, but it's not going to matter. They've got the Timber on the wall with the spear, and Eurus goes into the Shadow Dance. There's the Snowball getting pulled in, maybe back over thanks to the glimpse. Kinetic Field, X marks the spot. Timber's still continuing to get controlled in this situation. The Torrent hits as well as the damage. It won't be there. It just doesn't finish him off. So the fissure comes through. Eurus tries to avoid the fight. Searing Chains out on Ori with the Inkswell. Kunkka in trouble, and with it popping X Nova, he'll take the life of the Kunkka, and they've also killed off PYW. But at
Timber.
the end of it all, they do finally kill the Timber.
Timber is the one hero you don't want to go on there. But you see, Old Eleven's doing a really good job of making sure he's the one that's at the front, so they have to go on him, right? They don't see anybody else behind him, and now this is going to open up the road for LGD as well. Such a massive timing for them, that fight mid. They're going to try and come over on the Radiant side, but are they going to be too late? If PYW can throw the shards in, he might be able to snowball on time here.
Ooh, Snowball. Oh, ends up outside the pit. Static
They get the
Storm.
kill on the Radiant.
Gets the kill. Snatch the Aegis for Somnus. Chalice now needing to run. He's got the Remnant to get some distance between him and the side of Vici, but Somnus now fighting Yang. Yang doesn't have that spear for another second. Finally, they're moving forward, but there's the trap. Eurus gets the kill on X Nova. Echo Slam comes in on the two of these heroes. With the Totem, they'll take out PYW. Chakram right on top of the Mars. They finish off Yang. And a Remnant looking for more. Side of Fist, Searing Chains through into DY. DY doesn't have that glimpse. It's on cooldown for another 5 seconds, but Eurus moving
mana on
forward.
Chalice.
Here comes Old 11. Eurus now here with the help of Ori. They've got the X. They'll take out DY. They hit the Torrent with the Ghost Ship, taking the life of Chalice. And now Samus, he joins the fight. They look over at Ori. The body blocks coming in from Old 11 with the Chakram and the Fissure hitting. They will get the life of the Kunkka.
And they still have Aegis on TA as well. So not even too bad for them.
Middle tower has fallen.
The good thing, at least, you know, Eurus manages to get another couple of Agi on his Slark at least. But yeah, it's still a decent win overall for LGD, to be honest. And they should be able to try and play the tempo game now with this Aegis. You know, they've got this Blink coming on Shaker in 500 gold. So that's going to be a big timing for them. Try and take these fights. Because you have to remember, like, everyone's been getting decent slams off so far, and he doesn't even have a Blink yet. He's just walking into fights.
Mm-hmm. And he's walked in, he's got himself a couple of good Echo Slams there. But now bottom. He finds Somnus, they've got the Snowball. How far away is the Disruptor? He's not too far, does have Glimpse, but PYW... it's a little too far. Side of Fist, Searing Chains doesn't hit. Static Storm
Nice
right on the
static.
Ember. Great job from DY, bad job from Yang to miss that spear, and now they're not going to get the kill onto this Ember.
Why didn't he just use the God's Rebuke before the spear? Because the God's Rebuke slows him, so it's easier to get the spear off. Yang just trying to make it a little bit difficult for himself. I think they thought that the TA was a lone bot, which is why the Tusk went in there, but Shaker just sat behind, and as soon as that Fissure came out, they were like, okay, never mind, let's just ditch. PIW, you're dead, buddy, but never mind.
There's the BKB for Eurus.
PYW might be in trouble again here.
He did just die. He's got the Snowball, but it's only extending what looks to be the inevitable. Soulbind used. Yang comes in, lands the spear onto the TA. They've got themselves the Kinetic Field.
Oh, they're going to bite like it. Ori's coming in from the top.
Nothing doing for the moment until Ori comes through. Lands the Torrent onto the Grimstroke, gets the kill with the double damage and the Tidebringer. Now they find
maybe might die
themselves
twice.
Somnus, Snowball. Somnus in trouble. They'll get the Aegis.
Can they... They've got Dark Pact.
So there's the Torrent landing. Shadow Dance used. Fissure stops the Slark for a moment, but they get the second
Yules
kill, and
on
now,
Old 11.
oh boy, they've got Old 11. There's the Walrus Punch keeping him here, and Old 11 in so much trouble, surrounded by Vici, as yet another goes their way.
Great buyback by PYW. LGD didn't see this like coming at all, but Ori was coming from above them, like from the mid lane towards the bot lane. Yeah, and X Nova dying instantly means like they have no utility from the Inkswell in the fight, no utility from the silence. And yeah, without the Inkswell, I think their team fight overall is a lot weaker. And especially when they were so close to getting Blink on FY as well. Like we talked about him being like a few hundred gold off. If he'd have had that Blink at that point, then they might have been able to turn with the Aegis, you know, making the TA respawn, but she just dies twice, and that Aegis not going to be put to good use at all.
a big Aegis kind of fizzling out for LGD.
There's a BKB coming on the Kunkka now as well, which is a big timing. At the same time, I think TA's got her BKB coming out as well, potentially.
Still the
Oh no,
rest
she's
of
still a recipe. She's a recipe. Okay, so they might look to smoke up here. I hope they don't do it on this trap. Oh no. Oh, so LGD. I don't know if they saw this or not, but if they did, yeah, you see Old 11 already just trying to be the one at the front. They want somebody else. They want somebody else to show up here, and LGD is just holding their high ground because I'm pretty sure they saw it, and they might now smoke themselves because of this FY Shaker blink reveal.
Will be the blink into the level 2 Echo. They back up pretty far. FY is holding smoke. So is X Nova, so both supports have it. Surprised they haven't smoked just yet. Smoke doesn't do anything there for Vici. Maybe a little bit of deep vision. They've got this ward over here just placed, and they get anything else?
But then again, at the same time, right now, they really want to wait for the TA BKB if they can, because it stops her just instantly dying to the Kunkka combo, which is why them dodging that smoke there is so important. Because if Vici kill her there, it delays the BKB even more. But they're looking for the TA here. Oh, shards miss. No vision for the snowball. Yeah, and there's the BKB coming out for Somnus. He's going to feel really good in these fights now. They don't have a huge amount of physical damage on the Vici side, so this BKB extra important.
So there's that BKB. Meanwhile, Yang trying to get into that Heaven's Halberd. Eurus goes Ags. I know a couple of Sarks have been avoiding picking up this item. Maybe going to Fusel, into the BKB, potentially a Scotty after. But he's chosen to go to the Ags, which we've seen dominate in this tournament before. They've got the arena down with the spear, but this is focusing onto the Timber Saw. Do they have the damage to kill him off quickly enough? He's got the Yules, the Ghost Ship comes in, the Static Storm is down, but it will finally run out. However, they have already got the kill on Old 11. They do trade Yang. No, Echo Slam with that blink on a 2, but there's the BKB coming in from Eurus. They will finish off DY, so the support goes down with the damage coming in from Somnus. Eurus trying to get out of this one. Ori comes in, he's got the X, pulls him back, keeps Eurus alive, now needs to run. There's the trap. Ooh, Stroke of Fate into the trees. Remnant forward, Chalice Sleight of Fist, but doesn't get the Searing Chains out.
Oh my god, what is happening?
Silence, Inkswell, Somnus. They will get the kill onto this Sark. It's a long chase. He almost survives, but finally Eurus is taken out.
Great fight for LGD though, yeah, and it's the big BKB TA timing reveal. I thought that Kunkka might consider going Halberd before he went BKB himself, because I think, like we just saw, that they don't have a way of dealing with the TA when she has BKB on, right? So at least if you can get the Halberd onto her first before she gets BKB off, then you might be able to control her for a little while, but I mean, Somnus is just going to go rampant here for the next couple of fights with this long BKB duration. They have to be able to try and kite that out. I mean, they have Snowball, which is okay, but apart from that, like, Somnus can basically just blink in and go on whoever he wants, especially if he gets Inkswell just before.
Maybe to try and cut it out, they do have the Blink Dagger now finished on PYW. You can get that Walrus Punch in.
Yeah, potentially, that's true. And again, though, the Old 11's the guy that gets gone on first, right? Like, he's the guy you really don't want to focus, because it makes the fight, it draws the fights out so much more. Where imagine if they found like the Shaker first or the Ember first, like it's so much of an easier kill, right? If you can just chain send him down quickly. I thought Chalice might go BKB as well on this Ember, but he's actually just going for the Axe, which is fine as well.
Oh, bounty!
It's a smoke here from Vici. It is Chalice. They'll have the Blink Dagger, but smoke breaks and he remnants away. X Nova.
Good Soulbind.
Soulbind, but ooh, pops the BKB, and well, that's the easiest 9-second BKB they're going to get, and they might even look to fight this because of the fact that he's not going to have the BKB, so Vici will look to disengage. They do lose DY, and he drops the Static Storm.
The problem is for Eurus though, it's so difficult, right? Because they don't have vision up on that high ground or anything. So when he gets soulbinded up, he has no idea if Shaker's going to like blink Echo him from behind, or if like Ember's going to try and chain him up, or like anything could come through. So he has to pop the BKB to be safe. But yeah, like LG are going to be really happy with that. And like you said, they can now just push because They know the BKB on Sark isn't there. Like, that BKB from him looks really good if there's, like, all of a sudden FY tries to blink in and slam, right?
Radiant's middle tower.
LGD making sure they play around the high grounds at the moment really well.
Radiant's middle tower.
All of a sudden, 4K net worth advantage. This TA is really pulling ahead.
Double damage. Execution style. You're welcome.
And the second Roche is up. Okay. At the same time, Old 11 dies, so they might not even be able to go for the Roche anymore. Yeah. They have to leave. And he's dead for 45 seconds here. They can't really take the Roche themselves, but they might look to try and make a play still.
If they can continue forward. You see Yang, he really wants something in that spot. So, now that the Timber's down for 17, do you think they just posture around the Roche pit expecting LGD to come back?
Yeah, they need to make sure they set up good vision around the pit, which seems like they have. They've redone this ward spot that they had before, just to make sure that if the Roche fight breaks out, they don't have to come back onto that high ground.
Hold for my chest.
But I think these TA traps are doing so much work in terms of allowing them to see what the Vici movements from Vici are like.
Next, they're about to find Ori. He's on the high ground and now he tries to run away. He pops the BKB in time. He ain't got the arena down, but there's the Soulbind onto the Kunkka as well as the Mars. They'll get the kill on Exno, but coming in with the Remnant is Chalice. Chalice, sight. Remnant back. Somnus's BKB is running low, and they do get the glimpse out onto the Ember. They find themselves Old 11 by himself.
Oh my
goodness.
goodness.
Old 11 moving forward, doing a lot of damage. Static Storm with the fissure coming through. Old 11 destroys Yang and DUI. Jesus, and Yang buys back immediately.
Yeah, this is going to be the Roche fight for LGD now. They're going to feel confident with this. Like, there's no arena, there's no static storm. What's to stop them from doing what they want to do here? And I don't know if Vici can contest this. They might try, but like TA still has B. Oh, she doesn't have BKB up. She used it in the fight. Okay, so this might be okay for Vici, especially for the Slark in particular.
They found the Ember. They can get this kill onto the Ember, it would be big. They've got the BKB as well as the Leech coming from Bounce. But he uses that Yules, and he's surviving. With the Walrus Punch coming through from PYW, though, Eurus gets the kill. He pops his own BKB, goes into the Shadow Dance. They'll buy back on Chalice. He got a Remnant nearby.
Eurus.
Timber chain forward. Eurus now without the BKB, but there's the Meld Strike. A couple of shots coming in as well as the Chakram. They've got the Echo Slam hitting on a Bolt of Kunkka as well as the Mars over to the side. Eurus backs off. He'll have some time to heal up. Yang, he did just buy back, so if he gets killed, he's going to be gone for quite some time, and he will fall. Down for 90 seconds, gets an arena in, so they've soloed out Old 11. And can they get the kill onto the Timber? Eurus still backing off. However, with PYW and DY working, they are giving him a little bit of the bully, as the rest of LGD will finally join into this fight. X, as well as the Torrent, won't land. He's got the Yules, tries to get
Good
back.
Fisher. They really want the Roche,
blocks them in.
I'm sorry, on LGD. Orb of Destruction on the TA, good stuff. Vici didn't want to win anyway. Yeah, I mean, these fights from LGD and his spell usage has been really good this game.
Finds FY and doing a lot of damage. The Snowball comes in as well as the Inkswell popping from the Grimstroke, but easily mitigated there by Vici. They'll get the kill and get the Aegis, so Aegis in the hands of Somnus. They'll find themselves the Tusk. PYW trying to run, but the damage is there. They should get this kill eventually. FY coming through with a Fissure to finish him off. And now two heroes gone without buyback. They did buy back on FY, so what is the buyback situation? Jesus. Timber and TA, but TA has also got that Aegis.
The BKB on TA is down to 8 seconds, which is still a decent amount of time though. But considering how much they've been fighting, she's only used 2 BKB charges. Like, she hasn't been popping them quite so freely all the time. What is... Oh yeah, Chalice brought back in the fight, didn't he? I was going to say, where did his net worth go, but...
Yeah. He bought back. He died early the first Roche attempt, and then bought back in the high ground when they were chasing Eurus back to base.
I like these item pickups on Vici. They've got the medallion on Disruptor just so he doesn't get one shot effectively by the TA. But they're also going for this AC on Kunkka, and he's only about 1,000 gold away, which we talked about how they need to kite out the TA BKB duration to bring her down. You know, if they get this AC and they have the medallion on someone as well, it takes the TA much longer to kill them. So they just need to, like we said, kite the BKB TA duration, try and make a turnaround then, but problem is now, like, these echoes from FY in the last few fights have been crazy.
They
He's
found
so
Old 11.
good
They've
at
got the
this hero.
spear. They'll lock up the timber. They're doing a lot of damage, but here comes Chalice. Static Storm committed. Jules, is it going to be enough? And he'll eat the cheese. So now he's back to full health and full mana, but BKB's been popped by Eurus. They look over at Chalice with TA going in pretty deep. They've stunned him up. The fissure lands onto 3, but they're doing enough to take out the first life from the Templar Assassin. Now Remnant looking back towards the fight as they've got the second life. The spear comes through from Yang, so that spears them up, and they'll get this Sark away. Question is, how many are they going to lose? And they lose just the Mars.
Not an awful fight for Vici.
Not at all.
They get the Aegis down from TA, but she still has BKB up, which I think is probably more important overall. And without Yang here, like, Slark has no BKB either. I'd be very surprised if they didn't try and force in this high ground. At least try and take the tier 3 here. Maybe even more.
Searing Chains onto the Kunkka. Chakram sitting on top of him for just a moment. Chalice, you look at his positioning, how far forward he's postured.
Oh my god, there's a Bloodthorn on TA. Where's that come from?
Almost 20,000 net worth.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Just fully buys out a Bloodthorn.
Take the tier 3 and probably this full set of racks. You gotta be careful about how you go into this because FY's waiting in the back, looking to throw down an Echo Slam. So Eurus comes forward. They've got the snowball coming in. But a good job. Static Storm now placed on the TA. TA taking a lot of damage, forces the BKB out. But on the run from Eurus, I don't know how far away he's going to get. He's leashed up with the Soulbind, so that's what keeps Somnus alive. The glimpse comes through on the X-Nova, but he still can't get forward to it. He's still leashed up to PYW. Finally, Unleashed gets the kill on X-Nova, so it is just 1. The entire time, though, FY very, very diligent about where he wants to throw this Echo Slam, so he holds it, and he's still got it ready for the next engagement.
And so, like, that TA almost dies there. I think there's a basher on Slark. Yeah, there is. And she got caught by surprise a little bit. Didn't expect that to come through. Can they find more here? Yeah, they really want the vision for the glimpse, but it's Shadow Blade by FY. And they have this AC on the Kunkka coming out now as well. They're 7k behind on Vici, but they're not in an awful position. It's not like the 6k last game, right? Where the LGD were behind. I think obviously LGD is still in front, but it's all in the TA, the net worth difference, right? It's just the TA. So if you can somehow find a way to bring her down, the rest of the team is, so lackluster. It's just, do they have a way to bring her down at the moment? When she pops that BKB, she really does feel immortal. Especially with that Bloodthorn, she can pretty much kill anybody. I think you have to play the fights perfectly on Vici to be able to bring her down. No mistakes allowed.
Ooh, boy, Somnus. Old 11 laying wait, but now the blink forward, they've got themselves the Walrus Punch as well as the Axe that lands with the Torrent. They focus their attention on the Old 11 for a moment.
The bashes!
But here comes the kinetic field. The bashes through on the TA!
Oh my god!
Eurus! He gets the dominating spree.
The
He
glimpse
takes
as well?
the life of the TA. Now they've got Old 11 all by himself. They'll get the Torrent landing here with Ori killing off Old 11. It is 2-0, and Vici. That's a fight that just draws them back into the game so heavily.
Those bashes from Eurus were so sick, actually. Like, the TA didn't pop BKB for the X-Torrent, which is fair enough. But then, because she hasn't popped the BKB, then she just gets pounced by the Slark, and there's, like, instant follow-up. A couple of bashes come through, so it doesn't even matter if she pops BKB. But Eurus also has a Paladin sword on the Slark, which is about as good as it gets for him. Like, this constant lifesteal coming through, and all the healing amp on his ult and stuff as well. It's going to feel really good here. And he's actually going Scardy next on Eurus, and I think when he gets that, like, look at the net worth difference all of a sudden.
It sat back real quick.
Yeah. Like, this basher allows him to, like, deal damage to the TA through BKB and control her, but the Scardy allows him to chase her. Because it's, what is it, a 30% slow, I think, on Scardy on ranged heroes? Let me check. Enemy range units are 45% movement speed slow. Boy, oh boy.
Ooh. He found Chalice for a moment. He's trying to get into this tier 2. Meanwhile, rotating in his PYW. They do have the shrine to go to. PYW's found the remnant, so is the plan to maybe back him off into the remnant and get around it? It doesn't look like it. Nobody coming over. Eurus still over towards top as he buys out on that Scotty.
Timeless Relic on the Radiant side, by the way. I'll be interested to see if anybody wants to take that. Like, it's okay on Disruptor, but they don't have a huge amount of spell damage to make it worthwhile. Oh, they're going to take it on Mars. Okay, so the debuff duration on the spears and things, and the arena's really nice as well.
Timeless Relic also for the Dire, as well as the Flicker now. Spell Prism for Vici.
But who takes the Spell Prism as well? Like, they don't have spellcasters, really, right? So they get two of the best items for spellcasters in Relic and Prism, but they can't really use them that well. UIW is going to take the Flicker, or he's going to take the Spell Prism. Okay. LGD have to try and get this. Yeah, LGD have to try and get this TA to level 25. By the way, this bash hit at level 25 could make all the difference. Like, she's only one level away, so it's not too far off. And I'm interested to see.
Could be up soon enough. Where if he gets that 25, you may just have the third life onto one of these heroes on Vici. So
it's also the third Roche as well. Remember, so it could be an Ags or it could be a Refresher. And if we get double Static Storm from ZY.
We've got the Torrent, Fissure comes in, Timber Chain, but they've got the Glimpse right on back. So the first hit bash coming through from Eurus, the Yules will be used. Chalice, as they've got Yang pretty deep in this. The BKB is going to pop
11.
as well as the Spear coming through on Old 11. The Walrus Punch from PYW. They get that kill onto this Timber. He doesn't have buyback. He's dead for 80. Inkswell is not going to pop and land on anybody on the Vici side. So they can take that kill and back
maybe.
off. Oh, 150. A lot of time.
Never mind. Never mind. Poor Vici. They'll be sad about that one, but... Oh, they catch the spear!
Oh, the spear! They hit up Chalice! They've got the Walrus Punch! Oh my god, they just blew up Chalice!
Dude, Yang is... We have not seen some good Mars performances this tournament, but he is on a mad one today. With this BKB now, he's not really scared of anything when he jumps in.
TA still sitting on the high ground. Ori right there, willing and waiting to go up onto the high ground. Great save from PYW. That's going to be the snowball on Asana. Still buyback on this Ember, but Echo Slam committed, and it's a lot of damage on Ori. They'll get the counter. He doesn't have buyback either, so he's dead for 90 seconds. They look over.
Chalice!
The Static Storm is out onto this Ember, and now he's in so much trouble. The arena keeps out the rest of LGD, so he's all by himself. The Walrus Punch comes in. They get the counter. Chalice. They do lose Yang, but that is very worth it when there's no longer an Ember into the game for 2 minutes.
Yeah, and this Slark feels completely unstoppable at the moment. I was going to say at 25, I wondered what talent he was going to take, because nearly always you take the Essence Shift duration, but I was thinking, up against the TA, who's all single target physical bursts, he might even take the Shadow Dance, but he does go back for that Essence Shift. Goes for the standard choice. And this Slark is definitely the big boy in the game now.
Oh yeah, and Roche is up in 30 seconds, could potentially see him getting a second life. It's looking like it's a Roche fight to decide the game almost, with the way the timings are working out on the Ember and the rest of the heroes on Vici.
I feel like, is Kunkka missing an item? Is there something on his career that died? Because he has almost 19k net worth. I feel like he's missing something. Because he only has 500-600 gold, so I'd love to know what it is, but I have to wait for his courier to respawn.
Prince's Knife. Anybody gonna take that? Mars does. Okay, so they no longer have the magic.
So this Prince's Knife is really good against both the Ember and the TA, because we've talked about how it's important the TA gets her BKB off in the fight. If he can instantly blink in, hit her to proc the Hex, and then follow up with a spear, they don't have a save on LGD. So they can just bring her down from 100 to 0 if they chain stun properly. And the other thing is against Ember as well, it's obviously the same thing, right? Before he jumps away to his Remnant, if you blink in and hit him to get the Hex off.
I wanted to say the Magic Amp, but it was the Timeless Relic that was swapped out for the Prince's Knife. Mars, by the way, going for an Ags next, so is the Sarky. Well, now he's going into the Moon Shard. He had the Ags queued up once again, and then he did go to the Moon Shard, then picked up the Scotty. He's been figuring out where exactly he's wanted these, what exactly he's wanted.
Look at the TA's inventory though. This guy is absolutely stacked. Worth pointing out that Somnus doesn't have buyback though. So one bad fight from LGD here where Somnus dies, he's all of their net worth and he doesn't have buyback, right? So the game could just be over. So LGD have to be so careful in these fights now. It's all going to come down to the next Roche, I think. The next big Roche engagement, at least. And I'm interested to see if Eurus keeps his buyback or goes for the next item.
That's another smoke getting used there by LGD. 38 seconds till we see if Kunkka has something on that courier, and that might be why Vici are waiting to initiate. They are keeping their posture near the Roche pick, because this is, of course, the big objective for the game at the moment. So we'll see which team is looking to make the first move.
It's so difficult for either team to just commit to the pit. You kind of have to get a pick off before. FY on the Shaker, by the way, 3-3 and 17. He's had a really good game so far, but it's so difficult for him. Like one wrong mistake, one bad echo, and it feels like the game's really difficult for LGD because they don't have any other team fight really. Like they have these 3 cores that all scale pretty well, but they're lacking that big team fight like position 3 hero, right? So it's all on FY to make big plays every single fight for them, which he's been doing so far, but the pressure's on.
They're going to go after Ori. By the way, the item that was coming in on the courier for Ori was the Heaven's Halberd. They found the Disruptor by himself. 3-shot by Somnus. So now they're without the Static Storm, but he does have buyback, which he'll use immediately. Chalice comes over with the fast remnants. They look at Old 11 as they got the damage onto the Timber. The Torrent comes through as well as the Ghost Shift. The Echo Slam gets used, but it's not going to be that much damage. The BKB's been popped by the Sark. They look to finish off
the TA.
FY Earthshaker. They will kill him off. 2 heroes buyback on the side of LGD, but remember, Somnus doesn't have buyback, so he's dead for 100 seconds. Without it, they find themselves X Nova. They'll get themselves a 4th within the fight. 2 of these heroes already bought back. Old 11's back into it. He'll take out PYW, who also has buyback. Timber Chain across, but they've got the X as well as the Torrent, so they lock up Old 11 for a moment. Coming
Eurus is going to get
Chalice,
ready to turn.
Sleight of Fist, Gem on the deck, which Chalice will pick up. But without the TA, it doesn't feel like they're going to be able to go after this Roche. And now they've got the X as well as the Torrent. The Fissure hits on a 4, but it's not going to matter. Eurus gets the kill on a Chalice. He doesn't have buyback, dead for 93 seconds. Eurus on the monster kill streak. And here comes the big bad objective of Roshan for Vici.
Do you see my point exactly though about the Shaker in that fight? That they get one bad echo because they can't get the BKB on. I think there was like I don't know what stunned FY when he blinked in and echoed. I don't know if it was a snowball flying past or something or a spear, but he couldn't get the instant follow-up disable off. And it meant that the Slark was able to get BKB off, and then the fight's just over for LGD. Like, TA can't get a damage off because people aren't locked down in that duration. And this is going to be it for Vici. They want to just try and end this here. They're going to assume that TA doesn't have buyback because she didn't use it the whole of that fight.
Yeah. Died so early. If you had buyback, you were probably going to use it. The rest of the team did. Still 23 seconds without TA, 40 seconds without this Ember. And Will Yules to avoid the X into the Torrent. And Eurus, he gets a big bump on that. He was looking to get the Ags, but instead now gets the Ags Blessing from that Roche. So he picks up the Moonshark, gets the Ags Blessing. Now they've got themselves the Blink as well as the Arena down. The Spear hits onto the Timber. They've got themselves the Static Storm in. Old 11 ends up dead. They'll get the kill on X Nova too. They were without this Timber for 2 minutes. Finally, the TA is alive, but they're going to focus the tier 4s. This could just be it, and it's GG called. Vici are your OGA Dota Pit champions. They take the series 3-1, and they absolutely dominate this best of 5.
What a good way to end the series, though, and a good way to end the tournament. You know, really back and forth game, loads of action. You know, we get 70 kills in 46 minutes. What an absolute treat. And BCOP, Timber, 1 game, 0% win rate.
Oh, man. 1 win? Not 1 win?
No wins.
No wins. 1 game, not 1 win. It's so unfair. We waited all this time to see it that I get so excited and I say 1 win before I realize in my brain he did in fact lose. So that's it here for OGA Dota Pit. But I mean, let's break it down for a second before we say goodbye. Vici take the series 3-1 over LGD. I mean, these are the giants of the region coming in to face each other, and Vici still in that series at least. And again, I say this every time I cast the Chinese region, especially these top 6 teams. Any day of the week, these series can go one way or the other with how close these teams are, with how many times they play each other. And Vici today, they looked steps beyond LGD. You gotta give credit to Vici. They looked so good, especially in that last game. Where they were down a significant amount. The TA was starting to run away with the game, and they stayed calm, they stayed with it, and they ultimately take the game and take the series and the championship.
Yeah, I think it's not even just today though by Vici. I think they've been the best team in the tournament throughout the whole thing. I don't think anybody can haven't. You know, they've had a couple of bad performances every now and then, but overall they've been nearly 100 every game. Like they look really good. I thought their item choice was a fun game. You know, the start goes for Basher after he gets BKB, which allows them to control up the TA just enough that when this TA dies like once or twice, she's all about snowballing, right? And so whenever that TA dies, it's so much more detrimental to her than it would be other heroes. Yeah, I mean, Vici played really well this game. This Timber pick was interesting. Like, I don't agree with his item build. I think this Necro 1 was... I don't think it was needed. But Old 11 seems to really value that item. So I wish I could ask him why.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not a bad item, but especially on heroes like Timber, where they already have wave clear. You know, the mana regen and the build-up's nice and for stuff, but... who knows? Real shame for FY here as well, because I think on this Shaker, like he had a really good game, but again, there was so much pressure on him to play perfect every single fight. And if your draft is built up so that the Shaker has to play perfect every single fight, then there's an issue. So I think LGD, every time I've seen them play these greedy offlaners, so they have 3 cores that all need farm, they look so much worse. Like in that game 1 when Old 11 was playing Nature's Prophet and they were playing the tempo game around the map, they looked so good. And we didn't really see it from them from the rest of the series, which was a shame. So, never mind. But yeah, Vici definitely deserved champions.
Yeah, they played really well. They played the best, obviously, here in OGA Dota Pit. They only dropped that singular series over to eHome, which was on the first day. From there, they basically won out. They 2-0 CDC, they 2-1 IG. Then we go into the playoffs where they 2-1 Aster, 2-0 LGD, and then finish it off with a 3-1 victory that looked pretty clean. I mean, the entire time we saw how they, people thought they were the top team, and they were who we thought they were, the top team in the region. I think this, a lot of people were saying they were slipping, in their games were inconsistent, but this right here shows that they are certainly not inconsistent. They played really well. They made LGD tap in 20 minutes in one of these games. They really overwhelmed the top teams in China, and Vici, such a good performance from them. But at the same time, you can't take it away from LGD. They came in second here. I think there's a couple things that they still need to work on. Chalice is not brand new to the one position role for LGD, but it is a little bit new for him. Old 11 also coming into the team. So there's things that I think they still need to work out. It's the little things here that with time they'll grow, and it's good because they've got a lot of time to do so. A lot of online tournaments for them to figure out the kinks. So I think overall we've seen that this Chinese region is very strong, and I mean, congratulations to Vici. They take the series 3-1. They win the OGA Dota Pit final, and they look good doing so. So, I mean, any closing thoughts on that?
Not on the series itself, but I hope you guys have enjoyed the whole tournament for OGA Dota Pit China. I feel like it's a lovely thing to do when we get to cast the whole playoffs, so we get to see the whole story. Especially with me as an analyst going through the drafting stage. It was nice to see how the drafting stage not changed just in this series, but as the days went on throughout the tournament, which heroes got valued more and more as we went through. A big shout out to the people behind the scenes who work with doing the production for the event and things. They did a really good job for us this tournament, so you have to say thank you to them as well.
Thank you very much, production. You guys did a fantastic job. I mean, throughout everything, it was like, if there was a hiccup, they were right on it. If I disconnected, or even, I dropped internet for like 2 minutes in one of the series, they kept it on it. They were perfect the entire time. And this is, something that we're seeing from online tournaments is this clean production where, we're feeding to, we're sending us to their feed, and their feed comes in, and we've got these overlays, these production efforts where they've got, you see it, the split screens coming through. And I think this is a really good start for online leagues where we're getting more and more. So I love to see it.
It's just the standard to be met. That's all I have to say.
Exactly. So we'll be seeing you with the next OGA Dota Pit, which will be the EU CIS region. That starts on May 13th. It is May 11th now for all you guys who have lost track of time within the quarantine like I have. I had to look at my clock for that one. I had no idea what day it was at this moment. But it will be the EU CIS region with OG, Virtus Pro, Team Spirit, Alliance, Viking GG, Navi Liquid, Ninjas in Pajamas, Hellraisers, and Secret to
Oh
round it
my
out.
God.
That is a disgustingly amazing event, and it's going to be right here on OGA Dota Pit, twitch.tv/OGA Dota Pit. Be here, be ready. Again, finally, congratulations again to Vici taking the 3-1 over LGD. That's it from us. I'm your caster, B-Comp, joined here by Mo Farah at BComp92 on Twitter, at Mo Farah on Twitter. Follow us to know when we're casting next. Thank you so much for watching. Without you guys, the fans, the viewers, it's not possible. We'll see you again soon. See you later.
какой есть? Буси. Воин-самурай.
У нас
Буси.
Я так понимаю, что негр будет подключаться на другой имя. Кто у нас?
Бимо. Сонь, тебе нравится имя Юки? Юки.
Не знаю.
Это с японского переводится снежный. Он же у нас беленький.
Да. Юки мы его назовем.
Да
Ну,
нет,
думаю.
Ксюша смотрит еще какие имена бывают.
Мне кажется, ему Арч не очень подходит.
Ну вот, Юки можно. Вот. Пусть мой.
Арчи мне уж подходит сюда.
Худой ты какой. Какой худой.
Арчи подходит коричневому мальчику или абрикосовому. Ну,